Hello survivors and welcome to week 1, day 3 of the Free Fire World Series 2023. That is right, this is our final play day for this week where our teams are down to their final chance to get those points and lock in their placements for this week. My name is Dandaline, of course joining me is the wonderful, the mustachio AJ and Husky. Gentlemen, welcome back to the desk. We've got one more game to wrap up this week and we've got pretty big expectations for these two groups because we are looking at Group A and C.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got the Titans coming right back in here, right? We've got Buriram as well as Magic Squad. We also have a couple of teams from Group C that made quite a bit of noise yesterday. I mean, I think someone was being pretty loud, at least at the start of the game.
I mean, Loud actually got off to a great start, like you mentioned, and afterwards they kind of fizzed out a little bit, right? The volume got tuned down for whatever reason, but thankfully they still have 6 more rounds to play.
6 more rounds to play. Now, just a quick refresher for anyone tuning into the stream. This is the tournament format that we have been following for the entire World Series. We are still currently in the knockout stage, but after this, we'll be moving on to the point rush stage. I know a lot of people are excited for that, but we do need to lock in our top 12 teams first. Now, of course, we do have our prize pool distribution. We have 300,000 waiting for our grand finalist, our champion for 2023, and of course the $10,000 prize for the MVP of the tournament. Now, as usual, we are going to follow the standard point system for Free Fire, with 12 points going to the team that secures the booyah, and as it goes down, you'll get less and less points. And of course, each elimination will also net you a single point. So eliminations are extremely valuable in the competition. Now, worst comes to worst, when it comes to tiebreakers, we've got a couple rules that are going to be set in place here. We're going to start with a comparison of the number of booyahs, followed by total eliminations, and then finally survival ranks if it goes that far.
And for today, we actually have Group A against Group C. They will be playing their remainder games for the knockout stage for week 1. Group A, Thorad, BRU, MIBR, All Glory Gaming, Magic Squad, and Hotshot Esports.
Can't wait to see the Pakistanis right back in action today. We do know that Hotshot struggled quite a little bit, only picking up 30 points on their first day of play. For Group C, on the other hand, we've got the Loud Boys from Brazil. We've got PE Esports, Expand from MCBS. We've got EXPS as well, Expansion Esports from Thailand. Osaka as well as Poco. The Indonesians still haven't really gotten to their high strides. They haven't been able to farm those points yet, Danny.
Speaking of farming, I think we are going to be tuning into a pretty interesting grouping. I think the consensus for our viewers is that Group A is full of extremely formidable teams. Not to say that Group C doesn't have them either, but I think the question is, how are the teams that are not top competing teams going to deal with the matches today? Because you are dealing with, firstly, incredibly strong teams. I mean, there's no single way to counter somebody. There's a lot of element of surprise because a lot of information is withheld from the players. Like, how do you kind of deal with this?
Slay or be slayed. It's
survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, perfect.
Right. I mean, or if you're smart, run as fast as you can.
That too.
Even when you look at the overall standings, you can see that the gap between BRU and CGG is just 51 points, right? And they have 6 rounds to cover it. On the first day itself, they have scored more than 100 points. And who's to say they can't do it today?
I'm pretty sure they're going to do it today as well. Bermuda, as usual, we start things off right there. Hopping on into Purgatory for match number 2. Alpine Kalahari next Terra. And of course, game number 6, we hit the randomizer and go to a place where nobody can guess exactly where it's going to be. Buriram United Esports, 10 elimination average thus far through 7,469 damage. That's pretty insane.
That is super impressive because if you take this average stat and you give them a booyah, that's 22 points average per round. That means they can easily score more than 100 points per day, right? And courtesy was Moshi. He already gave us one of the best highlight plays on the first day of our knockout stage. And today, I think he's here to create more moments.
Yeah, I mean, we had that insane game with Moshi. I'm really keen to see if he's going to pull off some magic. But speaking of magic, we have Magic Squad on our team stats. Now, Magic Squad really surprised us during day 1 of week 1. They performed amazingly well. They were an amazing competitor against Buriram. I think the question here is that this is the second day that these teams play together. Can they finally conquer Buriram? Because they're constantly chasing.
The numbers look very far away from Buriram Esports, but in reality, they're just 13 points behind them, right? So, you know, there's not a lot that, you know, the Brazilian fans have to be disappointed about. I'm pretty sure today is the day where Magic Squad's going to come bursting out the door, and probably aiming for the Thai players' heads.
Even for today, right, you have Duel against Rash just now, Poco Stars against EXPS. These two have been kind of the star players for the team. We do not need more introduction for this man. An average of 3.5 eliminations per game. 3rd place last year in Bangkok. And even this year, a year later, switching organizations, they still look fine as ever.
The fact that he actually runs the Sonya on a sniper main setup is pretty crazy, pretty impressive as well. I'm waiting to see him pull it off though.
Pull it off. Well, today might be the day.
I'm hoping for it to be the day.
You know the craziest part, guys? The craziest part is that we even have day 3 of knockouts, because if this was last year, we'd have wrapped up grand finals.
We wouldn't have a day 3.
And given away $500,000 to the champions.
Done and dusted.
It's a good year for Free Fire.
It's a fantastic year for Free Fire. Not only do we have the knockout stages, but the stage that I'm definitely looking forward to, the point rush. But of course, more of that later on. The stars that you guys definitely have to look out for, due definitely for his sniping capability. Fies MKS from Poco, who hasn't really made that much of noise, but lost 21. The very first game from their debut, he made so much of noise out there.
He did, yeah. Like, I think this is a team that we kind of have to watch out for, because for Loud, they made a lot of noise early on yesterday. I'm kind of wondering, can they actually consistently do that today? I think it'll be a big ask, because remember, we are looking at Group A. Group B, I think, is a bit of a different story here. But if Loud can somehow just find their groove and maintain some kind of consistency, hey, okay, what is this look?
Honestly, it's not too bad. We all have... There are only 4 teams in total on the screen.
You're on one side, and I'm kind of, just touching a little bit on both. So, yeah, pretty good expectations here.
I think it's a fair assessment, judging by how they have performed, right? Obviously, I think the outlier in this case would be Loud.
But you guys actually think Loud is gonna wake up again?
Oh, of course.
Well, the thing is, I think because they did so well yesterday on Bermuda, I think that was really what ignited my faith in the team, right? So if they look that comfortable during that round on Bermuda, I think they can do it again. But I kind of want to talk about a team that we're sort of hoping is going to find their momentum. And we spoke about them off stream. Thorad. We've got to figure something out for Thorad, because this team they had a very tough day 1.
All right, so
very tough.
I think to be fair to the other teams in Group A, 3 of those teams are in the bottom 3, right? You have Thorad, you have All Glory Gaming, and you have Hotshot Esports, with Hotshot being in the worst spot because they have 30 points, and to equalize themselves with the team in front of them, they need 14 extra points. But you look at it from another perspective, Thorad is probably one of the bigger names in the entire World Series, and they are the one who is performing arguably the worst out of everyone else.
Well, I think the question we have for the team is like, what sort of happened, right? Like, is it just a performance issue? Is the team maybe out of sync? Because there are a lot of things that can happen internally that the casters, anyone outside of the team is not going to know, right? Like, there's no simple solution for some of these issues. It's going to come down to whether Thorad can fix their problems and hopefully apply it to today, because this is going to be one of their most important days. I think if Thorad just completely dropped the ball again today, they might be at that point of no return.
I don't know, because just one solid day, one day of breakout gameplay can secure you the grand finals, and we have got 3 more days. Okay, technically 2 more days.
2 more for them.
Right? Including today, it's 3 days. So, if you lose today, you've got 2 more chances. Just don't mess those up.
Yes.
So I happened to catch a glimpse of the Lao players. They were looking very, very pumped up, right?
All the time.
It's understandable that people might have doubt in this squad, right? The last time this is their first World Championship. They missed it last year. But I think there are 2 players who have been pretty consistent on the team, even when they were not performing that well, and that's Lost 21 and Mexico. I think these 2 players have been very pivotal in keeping that momentum going. Lost 21. It's good to know that even in rounds where they're getting picked up again and again, this guy is consistently taking fights. And sometimes you just need someone who can sort of go a bit crazy and ramble himself in to try and get an edge for your team. It can be a double-edged sword, but you need someone to do it.
And I think when you talk about Ramboing his way in, Lost 21 is a great example for them, right? And he proved it with all of his stats. Mexico, on the other hand, although he's a capable player when it comes to the engagements, decision-making has been a tad bit of a question mark. Especially yesterday, where they had a great opportunity of taking the compound away from God of Wolf. I believe that was at Alpine.
Yes.
And, the ball was dropped right there at that moment. Until that point, I was a huge Mexico fan.
I mean, even that they were able to hold on. Even then they were able to hold on long enough, right? I think being able to recover from a bad spot is a quality that is quite rare even on the world stage. You really get to see that gap of what makes a good team great. In this case, I think this flight path is pretty fair to a lot of these squads who have that northern drop zone, but Sentosa now is a very wide open area.
Very wide open. And also the high tier loot zone is pretty far. So if you want to try and go for that, it'll be a pretty big commitment. You also want to pray that that circle, the first circle, ends up being more towards the center point of the game. But teams are going to be continuing on with their looting game. Now, so far, it seems like this is the most quiet Bermuda game we have had in the opening match.
It's going to get a little noisy in a little bit. I mean, two Titans right beside each other here at Factory. Magic Squad and EXPS. Team expansion with Casper, who's already tagged up by Yago. It's not going to be a very aggressive engagement here for them just yet. Neither side very confident with their loot.
And Magic Squad has a lot of hidden rivalries with EXPS and BRU. They all play on the same stage, and I think to a certain extent, EXPS, when they were Nigma Galaxy, they actually gave Magic Squad a pretty tough time in Bangkok last year. So there's a lot of recurring themes in that case. We'll check in on that later because PE Esports just found themselves a fully stacked AGG, and Serba's going to be the first one to take contact.
Fires right back, but barely able to take the player down. Good blue wall. Erected PE Esports. How hungry! Beautiful spray. Sabas this time does not miss the mark. And another player to take down. Hiding behind the tree. Beautiful Bollywood movie right there as they try to dance around it as well. Sabas, mini Uzi, opportunity, and it is going to be the Tatsuya burst that does allow his opponent just to survive that a tad bit. Don't cry, so low on that HP, and Sabas as well. But no backup. UK just appears out of nowhere and saves the day, at least for the time being.
Yeah, UK really keeping his team alive. That could have been absolutely disastrous. The Sonya did buy a bit of time on the side of Don't Cry, but at the end of the day, UK might just have to give himself up to the rest of AGG.
Yeah, that seems to be the play, right? Because Dontry's like, hey guys, I'm going to try and go for the revive. Just keep them at bay. But the issue, right, is if Don't Cry gets caught, then it's over for the team.
Yeah,
there goes Nuke. Yeah.
Sacrificial play here by UK.
They're still chasing.
I was going to say they're still chasing. I think this might just be it.
Let's see if or not they can catch the guy. In the meantime, it's going to be Team Torad that we wanted to keep our eyes on with an opportunity to shut down Team MIBR very early here at Hangar. But it seems like they do not want to mess around just yet. Looking for that circle, and I believe they are going to use the outer perimeter to circle their way in.
It's actually a good litmus test for Torad as well, dealing with MIBR, because MIBR also are a bit mellow when you compare them to Loud and Magic Squad, who are a lot more explosive. And of course, AGG just found Don't Cry. This could be one of the early eliminations for PE Esports, who, again, off of yesterday, hasn't been performing the best. They were actually in bottom 6 after yesterday, and this round has just gone up in smokes. They got nothing out of it.
I mean, he stood a fantastic opportunity there to take at least 1 point back for the squad. Did manage to spray Sabas down, but got a little too excited running out of his cover. Blue wall could have protected him just a tad bit more. Magic Squad, on the other hand, safely rotating away from Factory, not wanting to deal with EXPS so early in the game. Expand. This is a team that struggled a lot from Group C yesterday.
Yeah, also looking to play pretty passive themselves, so not too aggressive for Expand. For someone that follows, or at least like has seen the MCPS region in general, like it is pretty mind-boggling to see Expand play like this, like having to play such a different style on the world stage compared to the local league, right? Because in the local league, you can tell that they are a lot more confident in themselves. They're very ballsy. Right, but now they are feeling the heat, they're feeling the pressure. This is a very important day for them. If they don't do well, then we're also going to be saying sayonara to them, but there's also like pros and cons to playing passively, right? If you play passively and you don't get the placements, then that's going to be a wasted round.
I think it's also, this is also their third international event as a team, right? Barring X-Roy, right? He's not here. Crime and Chaos is kind of like the new addition, but for everyone else, it is their third tournament, second World Series. And it's also pretty, when you look back at the recent tournaments, you also realize that domestically, other teams are catching up, right? Expans is not running through everyone else and just bagging a championship without much effort. They were 4 points ahead of Farang when the major ended, right? This could have been Farang playing on the world stage if not for some crucial clutches from Expand, and I think that itself speaks volumes of how the local scenes had developed. The question is, can Expand kind of translate that onto the world stage? That is something that we are still looking for. They're tied with Thorad, and if you put that into perspective, you realize that Expand is not doing well at all.
I mean, I partially agree with that because Farang's not the most consistent team out there. The last time we saw them go to FFSI, I had never seen a team mess up a huge opportunity the way they did. I think the strategy-wise, execution-wise, in terms of even teamwork that they displayed at FFSI, wasn't anywhere close to the quality that the team from MCPS Expand was bringing out. The problem here overall is the fact that MCPS is the king of a very, very small pool.
Yes.
And thanks to their manager, Jae Ain, they have been making these changes ever so recently, trying to scrim with more of the Indonesians as well as the Thai teams, especially teams like Buriram. But that's a long game. It's going to take quite a bit of time to catch up with the mechanical skills of these Titans. But the fact, like you just pointed out, this is their third international appearance, second World Series. The moment they broke into the scene, they made it onto the world stage.
Yes.
That in itself, speaks volumes for the potential, the capability of this Expand squad. But it's just a little too hopeful to, I guess, expect them to bag all of these big Titans.
Of course, I think it's more like to see how far they can go,
Yeah,
right? And
correct.
not go out. Even if they go out, not in a super bad way. I think
That is correct,
That's
yes.
the best way to put it, because they didn't get to play against like Magic Squad, Nigma Galaxy. These guys were in the finals. They got to play with RRQ and Team Flash, and Team Flash is not even here this year, right? Like Vietnam has gone through a huge shift in terms of which team is at their prime when it mattered the most.
Yep. All right, so we did see the circle get determined for the next round, and it is going to end up being roughly around that peak area. And we saw a lot of teams actually occupying the center area of that circle. So we're going to be seeing a lot of gatekeeping potentially as teams try to move into a safer area. Others skirting along the edges, such as Expand, who are also looking to find their opportunity. They found a nice little hill here, so they will have some scout ability, but my issue here is how are they going to get down safely, because there's not a lot of cover going down that hill.
If you are a team like Expand, their coach Tomo, one of the main things that he should be prioritizing is looking for the drop spots as well as rotations for three main teams: Magic Squad, your team Buriram, as well as EXPS. As long as teams like Expand, teams like Loud can avoid these Titans as much as possible, make their way towards the final circle, they stand a chance to a booyah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you let the big dogs kind of take that fight against each other first, but getting into early skirmishes is just not going to do them well at all. But avoiding all of those rotation points by the Titans, like the plague, is going to, of course, do them a lot of good.
Osaka. Well, not Osaka, actually. Poco Stars meet with MIBR. This probably will be a big first fight in a long while. It has been like, what, 6 minutes, and we finally get the second big skirmish. This 4v4. Of course, you have that arsenal in between. The UAV is going to be deployed instantly by MIBR that will ping out the rest of Poco Stars, who have an advantageous position. They got a compound to work with.
Yeah, both teams have something to work with, but at the same time, right, they're making a lot of noise, so they're giving away roughly the direction where action could potentially happen here, AJ.
Beautiful one glue wall used to rotate towards the compound of Pokestar. This is MIBR at their finest, but now the rush towards the top. This is going to be the most riskiest maneuver.
Yes.
Nobody's downstairs to open up the top floor with those grenades, so this is just going to be a mad rush. MIBR very smart to slow things down. And now Poco jumping downstairs and trying to take that backstab. 18-year leading on in alongside Raz Pitbull down on the ground, and MIBR being wiped on the ground. Poco, what a move. What a beautiful turn of events.
One of the best shot calls in that decision. Just give the whole ground floor away. They want to check the ground floor. We're going to just swarm them as if we are attacking their compound instead. Loud, on the other hand, have just ran into AGG. Sebas, he's taking a lot of the heat. Joel needs help right now, and Sebas is trying to buy time as much as he can. Lost 21 will lose that glue wall, but of course has that double inhaler to keep himself intact. Buriram is approaching on the horizon though. They got to wrap it up fast.
What a loss by MIBR earlier. Should have left two players outside, play some sort of cover. And now AGG potentially making that exact same mistake, but very smart move by Sirwin as well as Joel. They back away.
Oh, look who's coming though. I see
One team member,
Buriram.
though.
Buriram wants a piece of this as well, AJ, so we could be looking at a 4-team assault in this section of that circle.
I think Mexico should have relayed the information to his team by now, because he did see bullet traces from another angle that is not from AGG, but Lau, they gotta get to AGG first.
Oh my.
That UAV is a complete miss. Meanwhile, on the off-screen, Caramel finds a double nade onto Expand. We'll check in on that in a little bit. Kawan rushing on forward. Lau wants to wrap this up as fast as possible, finding Stewart, and it's a great start for Lau, and AGG are starting to lose numbers. Expand out in 10th place.
Unfortunate for the team. It looks like they just weren't able to win that engagement off-screen. Loud, in the meantime, though, they're starting to pick things up. And I think the question for you and me, Husky, is Loud going to perform on Bermuda in this round just like they did yesterday?
EXPS fresh off a fight with Expand, now up against Buriram United. This is going to be bad for EXPS. They have to back away. Wasana not giving them any room at all. Right-hand side flank alongside Moshi. Jonas setting up the left with the Farmers. Caramel, View, everybody stacking on each other. A 1-3 split. This is very risky for EXPS.
If they somehow can get rid of Jonah, this actually opens up a lot more space for EXPS, but it seems like they also have the same idea as Buriram. They're going to try and flank around on the edges of this hill and try to take up more space. Stop is going to be the first point of contact. He's eating up as much utility as possible, and look at that fight. Caramel against Jonah. This is the point of contest. Can EXPS get rid of the captain of BRU?
Jonah very smart as he retraces his steps, backs away, looks for a little bit of defense in numbers, but now out of nowhere, here comes Hotshot Esports as well. Can the Pakistanis take a little bit of advantage here in this hot fight between Buriram as well as EXPS? Hotshot just a tad bit too slow. Osaka throwing a couple of shots against Buriram as well, and Buriram very smart to back away from that engagement, looking for the circle and not some elimination points.
Yeah, Buriram actually wanted to take a free point off of the efforts of EXPS, but Casper was just able to bleed out that last member of AGG in time, and it's now Hotshot's business to deal with EXPS, who have perched themselves on the high ground, but Dio is not going to make it easy for Hotshot, finding the 6th elimination for his team.
Seems like Hotshot missed their opportunity. If they were actually able to get into that fight whilst the other two teams were engaged, they may have been able to get a vulture in, but now in a 1v1 team situation, I think Hotshots might just come to the end of the road.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the end for them. EXPS not waiting on ceremony. They take their action straight to Hotshot. Sergeant trying to go for the pickup. Stop very low on that HP. Caramo with the Drogon. The first bump does the damage alongside you. Sergeant's going to eat a couple of those nades as well as Stop moves on through with the Drogon. 2 players. Hasu gets caught out. He trades 1 player right back, but the final player on the side of Hotshot Esports, all he can do is just wait for the final bullet. And EXPS cleans house.
Yeah, pentakill. Actually, hexakill for Caramel. 6 eliminations for this man. EXPS, they did lose 1 member thanks to Hasu. As Buriram, they actually got to deal with Lau and Osaka, who are gatekeeping them from the circle. On the other end, you have Thorat, who are about to run into Magic Squad. This is the first big test for the Indonesian representatives. Northwood gets what a pump on the bomb. This is what you are looking for from this man. Ikao does get knocked on the ground, and Thorat are actually losing health pretty quickly. North get traded back. GU not letting that slide, and Thorat are getting cleaned up 1 by 1. Magic Squad makes quick work of them.
That was a great revenge on behalf of Bob 7. Guy went down a tad bit too early, didn't anticipate such a CQC headshot out of the M1817. You're not going to survive that sort of an onslaught. Lee had the grenade launcher but couldn't use it. Down on the ground. Magic Squad needs to move. Here comes the circle as well. Poco has got a good defensive spot to work with, but as Magic Squad rotates around, AGG, 1 final player, and I don't think he's going to be able to deal with 3 players from the side of Magic.
Not very likely there, AJ, but the space we are running into 7 teams remaining, 21 players, and look how small this circle is getting. And Poco Stars, interestingly enough, I think this team is starting to get overwhelmed. Too many teams coming in from different angles. You can't protect every angle.
Wait, Osaka just wiped out BRU as they were gatekeeping them early on. So Osaka, actually with the help of teams like ESPS and Pogo Stars, were able to get rid of BRU. And Chris actually loses his life, but Casper instantly sprayed down by Loud of all teams who have just made home in the middle of the safe zone.
Loud this time once again making a lot of noise. 2 eliminations for Kawan as well as Lost 21. A good high ground advantage and the circle to play with. Fantastic advantage as AGG gets taken out of the equation. EXPS in a lot of trouble with the final 2 survivors. Osaka still hunting for Titan heads.
I mean, Osaka is having a great round so far. Top 5 already, right? Off of the momentum of yesterday's Booyah. Dew is gonna get sniped by, I believe, Esteban, and unfortunately he has no one to help him.
Osaka have to
back
move.
up. Bluzo knocks him down. Dew will be eliminated very quickly. Osaka now got to deal with Lau, who are on the high ground. Just a perfect position, a bird's eye view over everyone else.
Caramel playing the game of Medkit. He can't step out of his defense just yet. Poco as well as Osaka. And from up top, it's going to be Loud making so much of noise. Magic Squad dropping right behind Poco as well. This is big brain moves. Poco has to move away. Magic Squad going in for the wipe as Noda continues the onslaught from up top. Look at all of the glue wall melted. They want to take away all of these defenses as 8 India goes down as well. Vi's out of the equation. Mexico alive and kicking from the left-hand side. Loud has to dominate this.
But look at this, though. Magic Squad are actually still hiding in the corner. They are not hard-pressed to move because they still have cover to work with.
And now they have to move. The final circle has just formed. Allow again, still have the high ground. The only team with the entire squad left, and they're up against their friends from the side of Magic Squad, and unfortunately Magic Squad is just down to GU. He might be a returning player, but up against the entirety of Loud, this is an impossible task, and he knows it. So Loud is going to start things off with a booyah on the third day of the knockout stage. What an opening we have from this team.
They just traded each other out and lost 21. He's not going to worry about that too much.
Look at that.
Everybody bow down to the most silent team out there.
They were very hyped out right before the round started, and now we know those good vibes, they are spreading throughout the entire squad.
They were biding their time.
And we know exactly what sort of map they're going to be hoping and praying for when the randomizer comes out. They love Bermuda by the looks of things.
They love it. They were also biding their time that round, right? We didn't really see Loud making too many moves early on. They focused on their macro. We really saw them start to kick in when we came into the third, fourth circle. The pressure came in. And I think one important factor that allowed Loud to have such a great late game was the positioning of those circles. They managed to get an amazing position on the high ground. And there was no one that was really in a good spot to pressure them. They were up high. No one was coming in from their backside. They'd never had to cover their 6. And so they were the ones constantly raining fire on everybody else.
Some luck is given, some luck is earned. This was a combination of two. Loud, they focused on their macro. They had all of the loot. They managed all of their engagements really safely. And look at this. This is a prime example of that, right? Not just taking a straightforward fight, even though they've got the firepower to do so. They played a game of range. Every single player on the side of Loud had a sniper on hand, and they kept the distance between themselves as well as all of these other teams. And those snipers came in so handy in that final circle as well.
Yeah, Mexico, he just great positioning in that final circle, right? He's holding the corner as a sniper, and at the same time they had so much utility. They were literally carpet bombing 4 different teams on the low ground. The only thing that can take Lau out in that situation is if someone calls in an airstrike, right? Lau they were in prime spot to win the round, but it is one of the teams. You did question that early on, AJ. Can they make a comeback? I think this is great evidence that Lau can do it.
But this is where Loud really needs to take this momentum, bundle it up, and move it into the other maps as well. You can't just be the Titan of Bermuda and not show up as strongly and confidently in some of the other maps, because we've got quite a number of them. Unless, of course, we get the randomizer here at the end of the day. I hope to not see them go silent after this.
Well, I think God of Wolf is a great example of what could happen with Loud, right? Like, you've got one map syndrome, there's a map you dominate on, but then all the other ones, it's 50-50 where you do medium, not so well.
A little bit more of a drastic example, because God of Wolf showed up strong on one map and then literally disappeared on the rest. Loud showed up super strong and
much more consistent.
They still had some average scores. So that's very acceptable. So if they can fix that today, make those averages high averages, that gets them to the top of the table.
I think they have a great chance of doing that, right? It allowed, again, they kept that consistency. We praised loss at Mexico, but that round, Cowan, this guy crisps on his shots.
Speaking of, Husky, can you take a look at their stats yesterday for Purgatory? What were we kind of expecting here for Loud? Because we have some stats for these teams. They played one day. What are we sort of looking at here for potential net gain they're going to gain for this next map?
We got 2 Purgatory rounds, right? Loud got 7th place in the first one, 10th place in the second, and both Purgatory rounds they only got 2 elims, so not looking the best.
Okay, so maybe potentially one of their weaker maps, or in those 2 cases maybe they got unlucky. We kind of don't know. But if they could turn things up a notch and actually bring the success from Bermuda onto Purgatory, we could be looking at another potential top dog in this round.
I mean, at the end of the day, Free Fire is not rocket science. What Loud just did there is exactly what we've been harping on, not just at the start of the World Series, but even in tournaments right before this as well, right? Stay silent, find your macro gameplay really strong, get into that final circle, and then pop off. A majority of all of those elimination points from this game for Loud got picked up towards the final 2 circles, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a winning factor for them if they can make sure they get it done. And this is where the priority of not taking those hot drops, not rotating in towards those Titans early comes into play.
Especially when they are competing directly with Magic Squad, right? These two teams are playing their second part of week 1 today. And when you look at their first half, Magic Squad had 92 points and Loud has 66. So this is an important day for Loud in particular.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Loud, I do believe we have a interview coming up right now. So let's see what they have to say after getting their booyah for the day.
Welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023. I'm your host, Patira. It's the 3rd day in the knockout stage and we already got the first winner of the day. Congratulations to Lau from Brazil. Hola. Hi. It's your first booyah of the day and of this competition. How do you feel?
Com o primeiro buia do dia de hoje, como você está se sentindo?
Ah, tô me sentindo aliviado, né, mano? Graças a Deus saiu esse buia, saiu o peso e agora só vamos, mano. Vamos pra cima.
He's feeling relief, feeling that's finally connected. So from now on, everything's gonna work out.
Oh, is that a warning or is it a threat?
Isso é uma ameaça ou só um aviso?
Nada, é só um aviso que os cria tá chegando, né, mano? Se deixar embalar já era. Vai ser igual no Brasil, qualquer lugar.
This is a warning.
Oh, I like that. And you had a lot of elimination in game 1. We will try to have more in later games. And can you tell us how you make so many eliminations?
Ela quer saber um pouco de como você conseguiu tantas eliminações.
Ah, mano, é mais mérito meu também, mas mérito do time, que a gente sempre tem esse trabalho de todo mundo jogar junto, tá ligado? Então os moleques dando dano ali, vou conseguir também pegar algumas kills. E é isso, mano, só agradecer o time foda que eu tenho, tá ligado? Esse time maravilhoso e vamos pra cima.
He attributes not only to his skills, but also the team as a whole. They always train like that. It's always a team play. So it was a lot of eliminations from his side, but still he attributes that to the team.
Yeah, but I can see that you shout a lot, you yell a lot, your spirit is on fire. Was it one of your strategy?
Faz parte de uma das suas estratégias ser tão enérgico, ser tão verbal?
Ah, mano, eu acho que tipo assim, mano, o melhor de mim é que a minha energia, né, mano, contagia todo mundo, eu boto o time pra cima, vou pra cima mesmo, tá ligado? E é isso.
Yeah, definitely part of the strategy. He likes being energetic, and he teams like that as well. So
it's one of the strategy, right, to intimidate others. But how do you like it? How do you like your performance and your ranking in the day 3?
Até o momento de hoje, você tem gostado da performance de vocês, do dia de hoje?
Ah, sim, né? Teve uma queda, nós deu buia, então tá Mac.
So far, so good, especially kicking things off today with a booyah.
Just warming up, right?
Tá só esquentando, certo?
É, só vambora. Vamos pra cima aí, manter a umidade, pé no chão e é isso. Tamo junto.
They're gonna stay humble and gonna stay performing like this until the end of the day.
Anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Alguma coisa que você quer dizer pros seus fãs?
Ah, só porque a torcida maravilhosa da Loud aí, que sempre apoia nós em qualquer lugar, tá ligado? Obrigado, vocês são foda aí, vocês são maravilhosos e continua apoiando que a gente vai em busca desse título mundial. Tamo junto.
He's taking his fans back in Brazil, everybody that he's supporting Loud ever since the beginning, and all their journey here to the World Series. So many things good to come. He thanks a lot for that.
So I hope to see you back here in the next game. Thank you so much and congratulations. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
I love it. Stay humble even though you have taken the round. And I think one thing I'm really happy about with not just Loud but the Brazilian teams is the fact that they're all so vocal and so happy to share their point of view and their thoughts on the game. But in particular, I want to see more of Loud, right? Because we saw this team, they're explosive. They are incredibly confident, but they also respect their opponents. So we'll see if Purgatory ends up being the map that's going to bring them back up. But it's not just Loud that needs these points. There are still a few teams that are looking to grab grab their own points to catch up. We'll take a look at them a little bit later on as we are going to see the overall standings later. As for elimination leaders for this round, it's actually going to be Caramel from EXPS locking in the round with 6 eliminations, followed by 2 of Loud's players, Quan 7 and Lost 21, 5 and 4 apiece.
Cowan really stepped up today. I think, yes, not to say that yesterday he wasn't performing, but today you are seeing more of him, right? Also the MVP for this game. And I think, you know, to add on to your point, Danny, about the Brazilian teams, they've waited 3 years for this moment. Last year could have been it, where they bring the trophy back to Sao Paulo, to where it all happened 4 years ago in 2019. So I think this is a big moment for the Brazilian fans, considering that this is Laos' 4th World Series. When they were there for the first year, 2019, I think they finished like 7th or 9th. They watched the Corinthos lift the trophy in front of the home crowd. I believe that this is why they are so pumped up.
A double A124 and a double Tatsuya setup. Lost 21 obviously on the Tatsuya alongside Mexico. But it's great to see the fact that it's not just Lost 21 who's making so much of noise out there on the battlefield, right? The rest of the players from the side of Loud, they needed to step up yesterday. They didn't, but today is the day, and no better day to get that done. Fantastic start with 25 points, and EXPS Esports just behind them with the 17.
Let's hope they can keep that up for today if Loud wants to be a top contender for the rest of the tournament. On the other end of the bracket, though, Buriram United, I think there were some high expectations for this round. Unfortunately, ending the round with only 5 points. Another team that sort of struggled this round was Thorad. Unfortunately, not able to bring themselves back up in this round. But we are going to take a look at the overall standings here for game number 1 for day 3 of week 1. And we are starting to see a little bit of progress being made for some of these teams, with Loud jumping up a few positions after those 25 points.
It's a big leap for Loud as well. They at the start of the day, they were 26 points behind Magic Squads. Now they are only just 16 points, if my math checks out. But the point is that they are making slow but sure progress, I think, for them. BRU, on the other hand, just got a bit unlucky, right? They were making decent calls, they were making rotations, they were leaving, you know, EXPS to deal with stragglers like Hotshot. But they also got swarmed by multiple teams, right? Especially Osaka towards the 3rd last circle, who were gatekeeping BRU, and BRU had to fight through multiple squads. I think that's where they really kind of burnt out.
There was a lapse of decision with Magic Squad as well, because they did take the launch pad. They launched themselves right in front towards the lower ground instead of taking that high ground advantage and taking that fight straight up to Loud, and not doing so just allowed Loud to pretty much dominate that final circle. But of course, that's for Bermuda. The next one on Purgatory as we hop on in. This is where the true test will be set for Loud. Can they carry this momentum on in, or is it going to be a repeat of yesterday?
And is it going to be a matter of RNG as well, right? Because Purgatory probably has some of the most coin flippy circles of all the maps in the map
As long
pool.
as you don't ask for a water circle, okay.
Look, here's the thing. I never ask. I just anticipate.
I just want to quickly point out that was Brazil's first Booyah, if I recall correctly. Because Osaka is Latin, right? It's different for fans who might be confused. Latin, Brazil, a bit different. No changes in our prediction, though. Well, except
Magic
for AJ.
Squad is
Magic Squad is Brazil.
okay.
Yes. Did they get a Booyah?
Yes.
So it's 2 Booyahs.
Yes.
When did that happen?
Oh my gosh!
I'm getting old.
For one moment, you made me question myself. I was like, wait.
I was like, yeah. Because I was like, where's Magic Squad
don't
from?
worry, we will let that one slide right under the bridge.
Oh my
As
god.
Loud steps up once again, but this time you don't see that overwhelming confidence on their faces. You just see celebration. Now, is that going to be the downfall of Loud in this next matchup? Because when you look at the face cams of teams like EXPS, you see the focus, you see the frustration. EXPS could have definitely gotten the Booyah on that matchup, but just like Magic Squad, they ended up making that wrong call for the rotation into the final circle, which really bewilders me, because I would assume that the main position you want to take would be that high ground.
MGS even praying for this next game. Pretty interesting. So maybe expecting to get the Booyah this round. Sometimes I've heard stories of players having these routines before they jump into game, whether it be for their mental, whether it be just a tradition they follow. Sometimes people have things for luck. You know, so I think the obvious ones are praying. I've had people put on special sandals, calling them their lucky sandals. I've had plushies. So, you know, got to do whatever you need to get into that mental to do your absolute best.
Someone I really respect once told me that luck is just a term coined for people who don't understand the science behind how some things happen.
Yeah.
So for people like, you know, from teams like Loud and Magic Squad, yeah, they can pray, but I'm pretty sure that prayer is more of a thanks for this opportunity, because when they go out there, like so many of the teams that have already done it, like RRQ, Buriram, they make their own luck. And I mean, Loud is the perfect example for the final circle. They made that happen.
They did.
They didn't make a mistake. Every single rotation, every single shot call was just so beautifully put. You could say that they lucked out because the circle was favoring them, but they were in the right place at the right time with the right amount of loot to not really make those mistakes.
All right, we are going to jump into game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Purgatory. We'll have to see if Loud is going to continue on with their Booyah streak, or are we going to get a different team to secure the second Booyah of the day. Now, I kind of want you to consider this idea, right?
Yeah.
We saw on day 1, week 1, 2 days ago, Buriram. Lots of expectations, did not do extremely well on Bermuda, but the team picked up as the day progressed. Is there a possibility that we're going to be expecting the exact same team? Bermuda was not so great, but now they've woken up. Whatever it is, the flame, the feeling, it's waking up.
If you're referring to BRU in particular, yes, that sounds very Buriram-like.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
If you're referring to some other teams, I think we need
Buriram,
to...
yes.
For Buriram, 100%.
I mean, I think Buriram's intentionally sleeping.
You think so?
This is what... No, this is
really
his, like...
don't care about winning these booyahs. They really don't care about farming eliminations. They don't care about being the popular, the top team at the knockout stage. Because you know why? You don't win big prizes at the knockout stage. You just need to be in the top 12.
Well, wouldn't you want the MVP money?
They'll get the MVP money, you trust me.
Wow. It's not going to be that
easy.
Oh, goodness. All right, we've got a little bit of a 1v1 situation there, as unfortunately Kwan is going to lose that fight, and that's going to be Liam on the side of Poco Stars picking up that one elimination. So 1 point already on the board for the Indonesians.
Yeah, not a big deal.
It's a nice little start. Come on.
Lao have a high tier loot zone. They have a revival point. They just capture that. Not too much of a problem. This one, though, this one is interesting. This is the second time in a row that these two teams are going to run into each other at the start of the round.
I mean, I know birds of a feather flock together. Their logos, background are black. Their logos themselves are white. They've got similar play styles.
White?
But I would prefer them to not really mess around with each other so much.
Oh.
I don't know, Magic Squad actually got caught by Osaka.
Yeah.
It's just Bob's just alone out in the open.
Another scouter.
Another scouter.
Yep. Some more information for these teams to roughly know where their
One
opponents
scouter
are
got
gonna
caught
be.
by another scouter.
Yes.
That is true.
That's just how it is.
That's so unfortunate, though.
Yeah, so that information's redundant.
They say don't shoot the messenger, right?
Don't shoot the
Apparently it doesn't apply here. Nah, he's back, don't worry.
Definitely in Free Fire, doesn't really apply. All right, so we are seeing a very tense situation here for PE Sports in AGG. But the question is, who's going to make the first move? Looks like it's going to be PE.
Sports.
Yep.
And UK, he's already in the face of Joel, and clearly for Joel, he doesn't want to take this fight. Not just yet. AGG were not in position.
It's a very smart move by Joel. He's actually trying to bait out UK for that crossfire setup. 3 players were just literally aiming down that corner, but very smart play. UK doesn't fall for it. AGG is not going to luck out just yet. Narrow, good toss on that ice grenade, but barely tickles them. Stewart in a great position. And this is just a standoff. Neither one wants to make that first move. And I definitely understand why.
Especially when you don't have much utilities, right? So every single lob of that grenade is going to matter a lot. PE have not been able to make any headway in getting information for themselves. They probably would identify that Lopez is on that roof because he started firing. But PE got to make a decision, right? Do you want to commit or do you want to back off? Seems like for this Vietnamese squad, they want to commit into a fight. But don't cry, he is pretty vulnerable considering the position that AGG are in.
A124 popped already. Don't Cry has to back away. Smart play by Sabas. Joe backing him up. Just cutting down that gap. Whereas UK taking that high ground and
Maybe-
trying to make it into an advantage for the squad. But still, this is the most boring standoff I've watched in a while.
It's called a ceasefire.
Hey, look, it's tense.
Not a
okay?
ceasefire, they're still shooting.
Well, I mean, no team has been eliminated. No one wants to come into 12th, okay? So you want points.
It's fair to say that Group A against C is probably the slowest groups combination so far.
Oh,
You know?
we do have a drop.
Wow, Lopez actually found
It's
the first
happening.
drop already. Sebas. Oh, he's down low, but he's not out just yet. Finally, he's gonna get knocked out. PE Sports have already lost Wong Ang. AGG, they are gonna commit to this fight. Joel gets extracted by his team, still sprayed out by Don't Cry. UK, good flank wash to eliminate one of the AGG members, but Stewart comes in to get the trade, and AGG ends up being on the losing end. PE Sports, wow, their patience paid off.
Don't Cry and the MP40, the MVP of that engagement. Observers must be so frustrated. They were watching them for the longest of time. The moment they move away, someone gets dropped.
I mean, that's pretty typical in life, you know. If you watch the kettle, you won't see it boil. Just take your actions. You got to come back when the action kicks in.
Good set a timer and come back.
Yeah. Or it's already over by the time you get back. You don't know what happens.
Your tea
So
has
someone's
boiled
got to watch
over.
it anyway.
Your tea has boiled over. It's now all over your stove.
You gotta
gotta
boil.
start it all over again.
Exactly.
I mean, all the Brazilian teams are playing today, so that's also kind of an interesting point, right?
Okay.
MIBR being the team that it's probably on the lower end compared to the other two Brazilian counterparts, you know, Lau and Magic Squad. In fact, MIBR is probably one of the more quiet team,
Gentlemen,
at least from their region.
I was
mean,
going to say it's a very...
quiet and Brazilians just don't go well in one sense.
Yeah,
Well, that's
well,
why
in
one of
the
their team
game.
is literally called Loud. Like,
Oh, these
In
guys
case
are
you don't get the memo.
very loud. For some of you fans who are at home, you have no idea how loud the Brazilians are, and I love the energy they bring into the room.
they
I mean, the moment they step into the studio, it comes alive.
Yeah, they could take my job, and I would not complain.
I don't know. I think he would complain, Husky,
They-
but
They would take, or maybe not my job, but they could take a spot in the
They'll take
Brazilian
someone
broadcast.
Yeah, not your job, it's someone else's job.
Someone else's job.
All right. So we did see a top-down view of the circle, and I have to say, gentlemen, it looks pretty promising. You know,
Maybe the observer's job.
For what, for Torad?
I think they look at the map more often because they want to know where all of the other teams are going.
Oh, Thorad. Looks like they should successfully
Oh,
be able to
that's
get out.
Come
Oh,
on,
Man,
Esteban.
Esteban.
That is just great. I mean, if you're Esteban, you don't even care if Torad takes you out. You are buying a lot of time for your team, and you are making Torad.
Oh, they're coming.
Yep.
They're coming. They're angry.
If he can just get one more knock,
Will they see him? Did they not see him? Oh, he showed himself. Interesting.
No, they definitely know exactly
Oh.
what he is.
they are
I believe the
still
Dynamos will
He
spot.
crouches, succumbs to Thorad.
that actually wasted a lot of Torad, valuable time for Torad.
Yeah.
They were supposed to already move past campsite, probably start taking other compounds, but you look at the distance between where they are and the clue
Oh
that they placed
my.
down early on.
This is not looking good.
Yep.
Torad, they stayed back for 1 point, and they are going to get bagged by EXPS if they don't start to move right here, right now.
Look at Esteban, he's back.
Esteban's always back.
As quickly as he left, he has made a comeback already. Ikal. Okay, Vehicle's going to get taken out first here. If Caramel is a smart guy, he starts firing straight up. Rosa in hand. Long range damage. This assault rifle can get the job done. But what we need is for you to step it up because his long range snipes, that's exactly what's going to give the team the most.
I think you just somehow try and get
Oh.
out, or in this case, actually, Ikao was able to get a knock, but Caramel will find one onto Darko. The blue definitely doesn't favor Torad as much. They have a vehicle, but getting out of it is going to be very tough. I think you need to just cut your losses and just start extracting as much members as you can. There is going to be a revival point nearby, or maybe find a different vending machine to get your team back into the game.
Blessing in disguise here. EXPS says, just not for us this time round. Couple of teaser shots. They back away. They've got a vehicle to play with to rotate in towards the next safe zone. But what they do is they rotate in towards the circle, towards the left, which means they want to continue this engagement, but just not now.
PE Sports will run into Osaka, and there's a UAV being sent out by PE Sports as
But
well.
is this full Osaka or is it just
It's
Esteban
maybe
again? It looks
full
like it's
Osaka.
full Osaka.
It is full Osaka, because they were both on the southern side of the map.
But I don't think Esteban is with them. I think Esteban went
Just-
off on his own
No,
again.
he's in
so-
front. He
Is he?
They are rushing towards Esteban. They're like,
Oh,
okay,
there he is.
we gotta go save our brother. We just brought him back. Don't waste our money now.
Can he do
I
it again?
actually think this might be it for Osaka. They're really not in the best position. Actually, one of the players has bailed, so they're
I
just
think
going
he
to
just
go.
bailed.
Yeah, they're just going to bail.
Just
Cut
run
their
as far as
losses.
we can.
Yep.
Okay, how much can Esteban do in this situation? Well, he finds one, but unfortunately, just no eliminations. All things considered, this is not the worst case scenario for Osaka, right? Pajaro will just try and waste as much time as possible. Let the last member of the team run away.
Smart play to run away as far as possible out the circle, baiting PE Sports. But Don't Cry finally gets the guy down onto the ground, puts him 6 feet under as well. 7 eliminations already for PE Sports. And UK is just hunting for those heads with the 5th headshot.
Still a very slow game, it seems. We still have 11 teams in the competition. Not too many teams or players getting eliminated outside of scouts. But positioning-wise, teams are still making their way in. Are we seeing anybody that is actually occupying a very crucial compound in that circle?
Well, probably Lau at Marble Works, because they do get to gatekeep Pogo Stars, who just drove in, and the binoculars
Osaka.
actually got used. So Pogo Stars knows that there are members of Lau around. And it's going to be Fire is going to be knocked out very early on. Needs help right now. Liam is going to be there. Fires MKS gets brought back up, knocked down instantly again.
My
Lau
God.
going for more, and that's going to be Cowan finding Raz. The Russia on the side of Pogo Stars have been brought down, and Lau have found 2 eliminations, and they just need to clean up the mess. Pogo Star never really had a chance.
Oh, they definitely didn't have a chance, man. I mean, Lost 21 just literally ran in, got an easy shot off of that Trogon. Noda picking up 2 easy eliminations once Mexico just burst down their defensive glue wall. Loud is off to a fantastic start here at Purgatory. Not a lot of numbers to make that statement stand out, but this is a fantastic start in comparison to what they did yesterday on this map.
Yeah, I believe like Noda or Lost had 11 medkits and 10 glue walls. They are stocking up. They have a stockpile for the final circle, and they're making headways, right? They clear out Pogo Star now, rotating deeper into the circle is not going to be a problem.
This now continues as EXPS wanted to continue engaging with PE Sports. Fantastic grenade. Casper gets the drop onto Don't Cry as well. And now it's a 2v4. Hawang says thank you very much, but not for me, not today. Nero backing away from the engagement as well, and the water body will keep EXPS away from them.
For now.
Yeah, Casper with the
no, don't do it, Caramel.
Oh.
No, do it, just do
He's
it.
gonna go for the chase.
It's Caramel.
MIBR though.
Oh,
Into Expand. EXPS
They made
just
it.
dropped by, just touched down on dry land. Uh-oh, the cluster actually doesn't connect onto XL, but what's the plan for Expand right now? Do you just run away? PEs was flying over their heads, but MIBR might be hard on the tails. If Expand buys enough distance, MIBR will have to turn and deal with EXPS, and it seems like that might be the case, because PE Sports actually decided to shoot at MIBR. Expand now finds themselves distance from these teams.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get luckier than this, Expand. You just better run right here, right now. MIBR now being pressured by PE Sports as well as EXPS.
They want to fight this.
They're
A three-way
wrapping.
battle. Rigby now. Drogon in hand. Pitbull pulls out the M1014, but gets sprayed down by the Drogon. Caramel just on fire. Stop a sliver of health left. MIBR just can't do much against Caramel, who just walks through them with the SMG.
This could be the chance for Expand to really start picking up some crucial points, right? The nade thrown by Expand, I believe Crime MKS actually bought himself 1 elimination already, but now you gotta clear out EXPS as much as possible. They can only be 1 EXP in this lobby, and it seems like Crime will have to deal with Dew right now. 1v1 that can be crucial. Because the M28 starting to penetrate through the glue wall. Hotshot out in a place. Crime NKS with 14 HP goes for the rush anyways. As EXPS, they need to somehow find a way out of this. It's just Caramel against the rest of Expand, and Expand have found the perfect opportunity to clean things up.
Good decision making from the captain. He chooses to stay and take the fight, being the third party in this situation. And this has turned into an absolute onslaught. EXPS, Caramel all alone, cannot hold on any longer. In a 1v2, he gets taken out of the equation. Crime MKS, the one to drop him as Too Fast gets traded out.
Lovely bait and switch from Too Fast and Crime. We haven't been talking about this duo because back then Too Fast would be pairing up with Xroy, right? And that has always been a more disjointed duo on the team. And the fact that this is the first time we see him paired up with Crime MKS, and they are putting us such good dynamics, I think it's a good sign for Expand as a team.
You know what the circle was a good sign for? Buriram.
Oh yes, 100%.
It was. But we'll touch up on that point a little bit later on. I think Captain Too Fast needs to partner up with Cobra if possible, because both him and Tryman KS don't really take those CQC battles, and Too Fast isn't really doing all that too well, getting close to his opponents. We saw a perfect example of that yesterday. Now Ice Grenades being traded for Glue Wall Melters, Magic Squad losing their defense and Loud having to reposition and waste their glue walls. Smart plays from both sides. Lost 21, Cluster tags up GU, puts it, rotating around in a 1v2, Lost 21. What a pincer by Magic Squad, and they've taken out their biggest threat from the side of Loud already. Kawan backing away, but he gets dropped as well. Magic Squad in a 3v2, and they should be able to take out Noda as well. He gets dropped onto the ground. One final survivor, and Loud should perish right here.
Yeah, crucial
Oh,
fight.
he gets away though.
Oh, he gets...
He actually gets he's
Ah,
gonna
he's there.
I mean, very crucial win for Magic Squad because this will extend their distance between their team and Loud. Expand. Goes down to BRU. That's kind of predicted considering where BRU was in the circle. And now it's just them, Magic Squad, and Thora is not long for this world.
No, definitely not. So it's going to be the two Titans from Group A going up against each other to secure this booyah, but which one is it going to be?
Look at Jonah. He is so far forward.
So annoying to deal with Jonah. Not only is he great with his aim, he's so beautifully fantastic with his movements out there in the battlefield. You can barely get a lock onto this guy. Blue Wall Melters once again continuously hopping up and down to avoid those headshots out of the snipers from the opposite side. Thorad slowly inching forward. It's only Lozzie and the Parafile in hand. He could be the punisher for Buriram United if they're not careful.
If you want to do something, I think you have to do it now because the blue zone has already submerged Lozzie. But there is a chance he just surrenders himself over to the blue though.
Hang on.
That would not be the case. The Tatsuya dash spotted out by Jonah. They draw the attention away from BRU because BRU took so much control of the safe zone. Just look at the amount of territorial control. Magic Squad will have to fight for it.
It's going to come down to glue walls here, gentlemen.
4v4, and if it's going to come down to the glue walls, Buriram United should be able to grab the booyah. They are the best glue wall masters in the lobby. 7 eliminations in hand already. Jonah still pushing on fourth. Drogon in the hands of Get High. Beautiful circle around as Wasana shuts down Hussain as well. Jiu out of the equation, and they are just clean in house. Buriram United barely scratch in this battle against Magic Squad.
Straight up a nightmare for Magic Squad. They just could not conquer Buriram United even after 1 full year. And BRU is a strong recovery in Game 2 with this booyah. I believe 11 eliminations to go along with them. Again, the average that BRU gets for themselves is what, 22 points based on the average stats. They got 21 this round.
Well, gentlemen, I think this booyah might foreshadow a terrible fate for the teams in these two groups now, because we saw on Friday, Buriram taking a little bit of time to wind up, but to get the booyah in their second game for their second play day, you gotta be concerned.
The problem here is the fates of the lower tier teams within these two groups had already been decided before the day even started. What really is my question is, how many points can the Titans farm off of them? I mean, earlier on, Loud got that booyah. It wasn't a very noisy booyah that they walked away with, a total of 25 points. And like you just pointed out, Husky, you know, this was a good booyah from the side of Buriram Esports, but not the kind of massive ones they are used to out there. So they haven't really gotten into full stride, which the rest of the teams have to pray and thank the good Lord for, because the party hasn't started yet.
Oh, not just yet. Again, they set the record for most points in one day. They got 105 on day 1.
Yeah.
And right now they've almost reached the halfway mark of the record that they set themselves. So there's a chance by the end of the day Buriram finds first place and they break into the 200-point mark. It is very, very possible.
And that first place might just be secured with the team at this point. Oh my goodness. But what a fantastic performance coming in from Buriram. I think there were some people that were a bit concerned after seeing that first game on Bermuda, but now I think their fears are not really confirmed anymore at this point. Buriram is here to play, but now when are the other teams ready to challenge them for this position? Because I think EXPS, this was a team that really was on fire yesterday. It seems like now it's their time to sort of wind up, and can they catch up to Magic Squad and Buriram?
Yeah, the answer is definitely yes. They can definitely catch up.
But are they just gonna? Is it just gonna be a case of RRQ syndrome where they just can't catch them, but they're there in the top 6?
Possible. I mean, at the end of the day, you really need to weigh your options here and see exactly what are you fighting for. You're not fighting for much if you're EXPS Buriram, unless you're talking about the MVP prize, that $10,000 US. Apart from that, everybody's aiming for the top 12, and these teams, yeah, they'll chill all the way into the finals.
If there's a good time for Buriram to wake up, it's definitely the World Series, right? Because FFSI, everyone went into the tournament expecting them to win, and they didn't. So this could be their moment.
Well, it looks like the interview with Buriram is ready, so let's hear what they have to say.
You know what? He said to me on the first day that he'll be back. He'll be back up here, and now he is here. Welcome and congratulations to Buriram United Esports. Congratulations for the Booyah. Are you confident that your team can have the top one on the total ranking after today?
มั่นใจไหมว่าทีมเราจะเป็นที่หนึ่งหลังจากที่เล่นมาแล้ว 3 วันของทีมแรก
มั่นใจครับ มั่นใจสุดๆ เพราะว่าทีมผมเก่งทุกคน
100% confident because my team are really good.
I like the confidence. I really love your confidence. Top 3 best active characters in current gameplay meta in your opinion and why?
ท็อป 3 ตัวละครที่น่าเล่นที่สุดของเมตานี้เพราะอะไร
แล้วก็มีทัศยะครับ โอเลออน แล้วก็เป็น A124 ครับ สกิลใบ
ทัศยะ Orion and A124 because of the silent skill.
This is your second day in the competitions. Who is your biggest enemy in Group A and Group C?
ทีมที่น่ากลัวมากที่สุดในกลุ่ม A กับ C แสดงว่าเราอยู่กลุ่ม B
ก็ EXP กับ CG ครับ
Why?
เพราะว่าทีมประเทศไทยน่ากลัวสุดพี่
I think Thai team are the strongest team.
And which team you think you can beat easily?
คิดว่าเอาชนะทีมไหนได้ง่ายมากที่สุด
ยากดีกว่าครับ ยากทั้งคู่ครับ
Let's say they both are difficult.
Oh my god, you're so humble and I hope to see you back up here. Will I see you again in the next game?
เราจะเจอเกมหน้ากันอีกไหมกลับมาตรงเนี้ย
ได้ครับ เดี๋ยวเกมหน้ามาพร้อมกับ Get High ครับ
Sure I will with get high.
Congratulations once again. Hold on tight, folks, because things are about to get more exciting. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
It wouldn't be surprising if we potentially see more of Moshi on that stage today, just because Buriram, I mean, they demolished the competition for day number 1.
Yeah.
Their day number 2 is very likely, but I would love to see some of these other teams challenge Buriram in these upcoming games. And we've got 4 more matches to do that in, right?
Yeah.
But we do have another match coming up soon, although we are going to have a bit of a break so that the players can sort of relax. If they need to, go to the toilet, speak to their coaches. That's the most important thing, I feel, right? Like, you start the day with your first 2 games, you look at how your performance was for those 2 games. If you were disappointed, have your coach figure out, okay, what was the issues? Was it a case of where you dropped? Was it a case of a mistake during an engagement? There are so many factors that come into Free Fire, and if you don't have that outside opinion, it's really difficult to improve something that you're not seeing. But we have our elimination leaders on the screen. We have Jonah in first place with 4 eliminations, followed by Don't Cry, as well as Moshi.
I think in this case, if you are on the Buriram or EXPS side, even C-Triple-G, if you're just generally a Thai region supporter, you're not too worried.
No.
But if you're a Brazilian region supporter, you need to start looking at MIBR, because this team has not been picking up steam the way you expected them to, right? Loud is doing well, Magic Squad is doing well, but not MIBR. And when you compare them to players like Get High, who has been consistent and also the MVP for this round, you can kind of see the major difference where in these 1v1 fights, Get High is just better than a lot of these players.
At this point, I've got questions, but I'll leave them for later. A124 and a triple Tatsuya setup. This is the kind of setup that Buriram usually walks in when they want to farm those eliminations. So there's a big problem here because they did not do that. And the reason why I had questions as to why Get High is the MVP is because for me personally, Jonah was the man. He was the one going out there, baiting out the utilities, baiting out those shots, getting all of those great big hits as well. Look at his average, headshots as well as damage that he's been putting out there on the map. So I've got questions, but I'll ask them to production in a bit.
The overall contribution, I would agree on
Yeah.
that, right? You
Yeah.
look at the final circle as well. Jonah was the one who opened up the whole space.
Correct, yes,
He was
yeah.
the one. And remember, he was playing the final circle without a single glue wall.
Yeah.
He had 4 med kits, 0
Correct.
glue walls.
Unless there was a clutch out of nowhere, then that's a different story altogether.
Yeah, but it's fine. I think it's BRU anyways, right? And they are the only team that runs like triple Tatsuya and an A124 because why the heck not?
Definitely.
Like,
All
why
right,
not?
we are going to have a quick look at the overall standings in just a second to see where some of the teams are going to end up. Now, of course, I think the goal here for Buriram is to just overtake RRQ if they really wanted to. They don't have to, honestly, but
They
I think
are
for them
going
it would
to.
just be for
They
ego.
are
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
They are
but
gonna do it
it
even
would
though
be nice.
They don't have to, but even if they don't try to, they are going to.
at this
They
rate.
should.
At this rate, they will. At this rate, they 100%
And
will.
you see, I mean, let's get this out there because some of them who are not Thai fans are going to be like, wait, this shoutcaster, he's so one-sided to Buriram. No, there's a reason why they are your 2-time world champs. There's a reason why, even in situations where you think Buriram's going to get wiped and there's only Moshi, their backup player left on the battlefield, we usually scream their name out loud because he walks away winning that battle for them. This team hasn't started going all out just yet.
No.
The version of Buriram that goes all out was that last game on the world stage last year. That's their quality.
Yeah. Well, we are going to have a bit of a break here, so make sure you're back in 5 minutes for game number 3. Hello survivors and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023. It is week 1, day number 3 and also the final day for this week of Free Fire, and we are almost ready to jump into game number 3. My name is Natalie and of course joining me is the wonderful, the mustachio, AJ and Husky. Gentlemen, we are ready to to jump into game number 3.
Yes,
we have expectations, but I think the biggest one is Buriram. They've woken up after game number 2. Game number 3 likely going to be another potential booyah or at least a high-performing round for this team.
Yeah.
Alpine is our map for game number 3. Who is the most likely team to challenge Buriram on Alpine?
Magic.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing. I think so far the fight between Group A and Group C, the frontrunners are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Buriram United, Magic Esports, and Loud.
Yeah.
I suppose you can slot EXPS, but they have been shaky for the first 2 rounds. So far, I only have these 3 teams in my sights.
Yeah. So if you're Magic Squad and you know that if you just leave Buriram to play their game, they're just going to shoot themselves up that leaderboard. What are you sort of expecting to do here as Magic Squad? Is it time to pick up the action? Because I know for week 1, day 1 for Magic Squad, they were very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
Whereas if we compare them to matches today, much slower paced matches, which I thought was quite surprising.
Yeah. Only because on the first day you've got a lot to fight for. You really want to farm those points. And then once you've already gotten the job done, you pretty much have the qualification to the knockout stages already. So you don't really need all that too much. So you can just play at an average pace. But nothing's going to stop them from still going all out to grab the booyah this time round though. Because this is one of their better performing maps.
I think for Magic Squad, it's just most of the times when they run into Buriram, they have lost.
Yeah.
But that is not to take anything away from them because their finishes in round 1 and 2 have been very good, right? They finished second in round 1, only losing to Lao, and then map 2, they also finished second, only losing to BRU.
Yeah.
If you are Magic Squad, I think you are okay with that result, just knowing that you lose out at the very end because you got outplayed or because you don't have the right elevation. But it's not too big of a deal when you compare it to certain teams like P Esports, MIBR, Expand. These are teams that have a lot more glaring issues that they need to fix.
Yeah, and another way to put that is, Titan teams who really know how to play a good game of Free Fire, they don't really prioritize the booyah. Just getting the booyah alone doesn't really necessarily bring you to success. Getting these high averages on a consistent basis, really practicing your mechanical skills against some of these other Titans that you're going to be meeting in the finals, that's what it all matters. That's what matters. And I think Magic Squad has been doing a fantastic job at that. They haven't really retreated from any of the battles thus far. And that actually shows you a lot of confidence. Teams like Buriram, they kind of got scared off a couple of times because they didn't want to take these early engagements. Magic, on the other hand, is like, oh, okay, here's another free 4 points. Let's go.
You want to dance? Let's go. Let's tango.
Because in a Battle Royale, there are certain certain situations that when the conditions were met, even the best teams will not be able to get out of it, right? Even Buriram, if you have 4 teams shooting at them, they are going to go down.
That's correct.
But the difference between them and a lot of other teams who are struggling to be in their spot is how do they navigate these situations. And I think more experienced teams like BRU, like Magic, like Loud have been able to find it. I would even say RQ Kazu is a good example of not putting yourself in these crossfires too many times.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that playstyle, right? Because why do you even need to do that? You don't need to risk yourself. You can just play from the edges of the map and try to play for pot shots. And when you see an opening, when you see an opportunity to head on in for a good defensive spot, you grab that and you hunker down as your defensive base.
You know what? When you mentioned those teams, the immediate thought that came to my mind was, is that because these teams decide to go for the scouting strat, where they send 1 or 2 players away from the team to gather information to figure out who is where so we know where not to go?
I think it's yes and no, honestly.
I was going to say exactly the same
Some
thing.
teams
Yes
do
and
that,
no.
right?
Right, it honestly is very situational. Some teams do that and it doesn't really work out. Some teams don't do that and it works out. It's more of what do you want to achieve?
How valuable was the information?
And also what's the objective in the first few minutes, right? And it comes down to what the team wants to do. Like you can't just have one guy run around and be like, wow, I saw one team here, but you can't act on.
Yeah, you can't do much even if you know one team's there. Unless you are gonna drop into that high tier loot zone, that blue circle there, and then keep one guy watching and being that scout to tell the squad if or not they need to anticipate a rush from anybody else. So that's going to be a huge situational basis that not a lot of teams have actually used their scouters for thus far.
I just noticed that Expand actually
Buriram's
really
actually going for it.
And Expand really switched up their drop spot. They are going to Dog. It is an area that they usually do not ever go to.
And that is giving a lot of these other teams the respect they deserve, because this is the kind of platform where you can't just play to your own comfort. You have to do your research, you have to do your homework, and avoid the other Titans as much as possible. And if you're Expand, almost everybody out there at this point of time is a Titan.
This might just be a elimination here for Liam, just trying to get that final shiny finally gets it though.
And then AGG is having a rough time. 3 rounds in a row they had to fight someone at the start.
Yeah, and this is also with PokerStar actually being rather spread out. The team isn't together, so if any of the PokerStar players get knocked down here, they won't have anyone to back them up. But I think they've had enough time. They've got enough limbs, so you know what? This might have worked out for the Indonesian squad.
And PokerStar just trying to heal up right out in the open, but it was AGG that ends up falling. I believe one of the Lao members also got taken out by Hotshot off screen.
Oh, Nady, baby. And it's just not going to torture them
There's
too
no way
much.
you win that.
1 HP. Tatsuya bursts out of that.
Oh, he's down.
But just unfortunate with the positioning.
I mean, there's no way he wins that, right? It was a good attempt to try and peek out and take that, but Faiz obviously had a better long-range weapon in that situation.
But we got the buyback there for AGG, so it's not all lost for the team. So they'll have to reset and figure out what to do from here on out, because they are going to be coming back with absolutely nothing. Speaking of some of the other teams, we did get a couple of knocks off screen that we weren't able to see, unfortunately, and I don't believe those players have been revived yet. So a couple of injured teams running around, 2 players off the map.
Also for MIBR, they also subbed in Zetsu. So Pitbull will be taking the bench for this round. Definitely need a change of pace, because MIBR have not been able to find their stride ever since day 1. It's not a good sign so far. I mean, they've been struggling not just against other teams, but even when they run into teams like Magic Squad and Lao, they have shown signs of weaknesses.
Speaking of weakness, AGG is in a pretty weak spot themselves, because they are still within the vicinity of PokerStars. I'm surprised the team just hasn't bailed.
Poco actually caught up to them. The pass sometimes catches up on.
This is just great map awareness from Poco, right? They knew exactly where AGG was going to revive and head on into. They just rush fusion, and they're going to find themselves extra few points for sure, because there's no way you come back and then get the enough loot to face off against Poco, who just looted you after slaying all of your team members earlier.
This is giving me some very mad
What?
flashbacks.
What?
Oh my gosh. I'm getting some terrible flashbacks to yesterday with Loud, where the team just got consistently picked off one by one.
That was straight up an illegal shot.
Illegal.
I mean, the guy just 180'd that and continued shooting at him. Lopez going to pick himself right back up, but Sonia's not going to be singing praises for him, as he doesn't really use her skill to its best capability. Poco, 7 eliminations already.
Yeah, that is huge.
For Poco, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy huge.
I can't really say huge for AGG, unfortunately, because they tried to have their comeback.
It's a huge loss for them.
That makes sense. It looks like we are going to be seeing Thorad potentially going up against PE Esports, and it's a weird position as well, because PE are spread across this bridge.
It's more like, what is Thorad going to do, because they were indecisive.
Oh,
There's
no.
2 members already down on the side of Thorad. They gotta somehow trade numbers back, and they're doing pretty okay in North. Putting in the work, but it's between him and Lozzy. Can he somehow just hold back PE? PE coming in for a pincer maneuver on both ends. So this is going to be a 1v1 situation between all of the players. Lozzy got to deal with Hong Ang, who is just zoning them out with the ice grenade. Just walking the plank at this point. He's tanking his own utility damage, and he still has more health than the members of TR. Hong Ang does get dropped by Ekao though, so this is a good chance for Thorad to walk out of this alive, and actually they will wipe out PE.
How panic plays. He was just tossing those nades without really aiming them. Even his glue wall melter ended up melting his own glue wall. Pretty unfortunate if you are a player from the side of PE Sports. But those are the kind of moments where you kind of just get squeezed into and you have to react. Not all of your reactions are going to be 100%. And PE Sports had to just pay the high price for that.
I mean, that was great for Thoride. Oh, MIBR actually being eliminated from the competition.
I mean, BRU spots one and they take one.
That is horrible news for MIBR.
It is.
They are starting to fall quite far behind the rest of the pack. And that is without taking Group B into consideration yet.
Oh, although we might
Where's
be looking...
Hotshot though? I've barely seen them.
They're very good at hiding. We can say that for sure.
I've barely seen them in play today.
Well, they did take out one loud guy just now.
Yes, they did.
That's that was the extent of it.
Well, I do remember when it came to dropping as well, Loud spread out as an entire team. So they were more or less isolated.
Can Osaka beat BRU? That is the question. Okay, Esteban. All right. You gotta love that maneuver. The boosting on top of the boulder, but Moshi is gonna trade him back. Esteban dropped. Unfortunately, no revive right there.
Really nice punish.
Can't say the same for Osaka though. They were not able to convert Wasana. And that means that Jonah will land the nade. Actually, Chris, second one to be on the ground, and BRU looking to clean things up.
Get High on the high ground. The glue wall comes down and Get High gets to business. Osana still on the chase though. But one final survivor from Osaka should be able to bring the rest of his team members in the moment he gets to a vending machine. But there needs to be quite a bit of travel across the bridge, crossing Rivermouth. And it looks like BRU's not going to go in aggressively to wipe out the final player. So they give themselves an opportunity for 4 points later on.
Yeah. They see where the circle is and they're like, well, we're not going to chase this. We're in a pretty good position. In fact,
fine.
let Coase leave the area. He's going to revive his team and tell them not to mess with BRU.
Or let Coase leave the area, revive his team, and
then we do it again.
hunt them down.
And do it again.
Why settle for 4 points when you can get 7?
Exactly. Maximize those
Pull a
points.
Poco on them.
Put a Poco.
Well, Poco, if I'm not mistaken, are inevitably going to actually run into Buriram because Poco is in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So the only place for them to go is towards Forest Red, and Buriram is in their path.
Or they can go to God and hope and pray that Buriram does not cross their path and take that long rotation into the circle.
Go all the way around. But I don't know. But the thing is, we don't know if they have the information that Buriram is there to begin with.
Oh, of course.
So
definitely not.
We'll have
Unless,
to
of
see.
course, Dinoculus, UAV. I mean, you got to play the game of information in Free Fire. If you are not playing that information, you're probably going to get tortured.
Oh,
Flies.
Osaka.
Yeah, Esteban just came back, and that's gonna hurt.
Look at all these eliminations Poco are sitting on. Oof, 8 elims.
8 points. Forest Raid actually controlled by Loud. I believe early on it wasn't Loud, but there has been a shift in.
MIBR earlier.
It was
Yes.
MIBR, yes. There's been a shift of ownership of that area.
Uh-oh.
But Osaka, they are just playing for. What was that?
Fires.
And
And
he
he
claimed on
claims
the
it.
map. Oh goodness.
Poco on the
Wow.
9th elimination. Come on.
Is
These guys.
this a sign? This might be Poco's game.
Oh no, man.
that's-
Coase hears that and he starts running, but I.
Whether or not it's Poco's day, you know, there is a good saying, every dog.
Has his day.
Has its day.
Where did
Just
that even
one
come
day?
from? Why is it a dog? Why can't it be like a cat or?
It's every day's the cat's day, man. They own us.
That's why they have 9 lives.
To torture us.
Oh, goodness. Right, EXPS. Oh, actually going to potentially run into another team here. And we know
Oh,
that
big
EXPS, they
fight.
do love to go for a fight.
Gio's already low, fully tagged up on the way there. He gets dropped as well. The pickup is going to be possible as Dew goes in for the execution. Bob 7 out of the equation and stop from up top alongside Dew. Will be able to take Gio out of the equation yet again. Puts in all alone. Has got the Mag 7 to work around with. But against 3 Trogons, this guy, he's running out of time.
Yeah, straight up forced to commit to a fight that they just could not win. There was no chance that MGS would take out EXPS. So this is finally one of the few rounds,
It's
one of
hot
the
shot.
first rounds today where Magic Squad just, unfortunately got eliminated early. And
Yeah.
Osaka also meeting it very early and in the hands of Hotshot. But
Oh,
now
this is problematic because we know
Poco
Poco.
Stars. I mean, 9 eliminations already. So
Elimination leaders too.
If Hotshot wants to wake up, now's a great time to do
and
that.
there's a revival point, right? It's a very
Amen.
good compound to contest.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Oi.
They just closed it. No, whatever. Game was like, no.
Nope.
Definitely not happening.
Should have fought earlier.
And look at that, Poco just be like, all right, no revival points.
Now, they
Cool.
still do have a vending machine if things do go south, though. And this is where Expand is very smart with the rotation. They've rotated from the outside of the base straight towards the vending machine, and they do get the circle as well. So great defensive position for the MCPS squad. Buriram United, on the other hand, spotting out a couple of loud players.
Yeah.
Not much to work out from those shots.
Loud definitely not intending to fight Buriram right now because they actually scanned where I believe Thorat was. So they are heading towards the Indonesian team instead. They had the binoculars. I think they spotted out one of the Thorat members.
Let's see if Thorat can do something with his UAV. They sent it outwards towards a vending machine, anticipating a team to be there. Oh, no, they're going to find one.
Wow.
Mexico, what a shot with the AWM from afar, straight through Get High's head.
Even claims Get High.
Mexico, Wasana as well. This guy's on a roll.
And look at where Mexico is. This guy he is not with the rest of his team. He's outside the circle. The Brazilian sniper, ironically called Mexico, he is putting in the work right now.
Let's see if or not Buriram can find a little bit of revenge here. They do have a vending machine that they sit on. So easy revival as do you find Sajid. Hot shot. Trying to avoid all engagements, but EXPS just not allowing them to stick with that. And they're all spread out, man. This is a terrible position to hold for Hotshot.
And Action really wanted to hold that roof with the grenade launcher, with the RGS-50, but unfortunately, Expand is interfering with that plan. He's getting shot at, so that roof is not a safe spot for him, unfortunately. Hasu getting forced back by a barrage of explosives. And this makes it even worse when you realize that PocoStar is right behind him.
And this just funnels Hotshot in towards the center of the circle, and that's just a open season now on Hotshot. Everybody's got a capability of taking them out of the equation, but it all depends on who steals away that final shot onto Hotshot. Can they find a better defensive compound? Oh my goodness, they lead right into the circle, so there's a little bit of luck there.
Yeah, again, Lau initially wanted to go for Thorat, but Thorat actually decided to chip in. Now Buriram, they're just going to full commit to it. Kawan is completely trapped. Had to commit 2 glue walls, but it will be quickly taken down. How is Lau going to navigate the situation? Jonah with the nade cooked up. That one cluster does go wide, and Lau still hanging on by a thread. And they're also getting pelted by afar by Get High, who is not in the circle right now.
You just knocked 2 players from the side of Hotshot back to back. Jonah tagged up, cooking up that nade though. Loud's gonna be in a little bit of trouble. That nade flies on through, doesn't find a solid connection. Kawan, on the other hand, does get shut down by Wasana and his Farmers. A couple of pops from the Trogon, and the finisher is there. Wasana, beautiful circle around, and the Trogon continues to pump these players down.
Oh no, this is going to be basically the dream killer here for Loud, unless they can somehow get some kind of comeback. But I mean, with one player, there's only so much you're going to be able to do. At this point, you're praying that someone comes in and actually keeps Buriram busy for you. But Loud eliminated in 7th place. Their dream dies here. They're going to have to wait for the next game to have their moment to shine. But Buriram, coming into this next circle, they are down 1 player, and this might be the opening for the other teams left to potentially punish them.
It's too risky to run towards the vending machine on the left. This circle is definitely hurting them, so they're going to try to stick with a trio setup towards this next circle. Great repositioning for Buriram, though. In comparison to the rest of the teams that engaged with them outside, Buriram had a great read on the map. They saw the boulders out in the open. They used that natural defense to block off the shots from the left, but they are trying... No, they're not going to go for that vending machine.
It kind of felt like for Lau, they again took a bit too long to make up a solid decision. In this case, Darko, that is the Thorat you want to look for, right?
Yeah.
Kind of sharing some DNA with RQ. Very big opportunist. They found 8 eliminations so far in this game, and there are still a lot more on the field. Moshi does perish to the blue. BRU out in 6th place. EXPS now will have to face off against PocoStar. And whoever wins this is going to get a big injection in points.
EXPS, Poco, good glue wall. Raz right behind, and he gets tagged up by a cluster. And here comes Casper as well as Stop. The backstab is going to be perfect. Faiz flanking around from the left. 8 India taking a straightforward attack. And Faiz goes down. 8 India, the final hope here now for Poco.
Nothing much that he can do at this point. It's a 1 versus 3. 8 India needs to pull a miracle. That is going to be 1. Duo will jump back into the building to reset, but
survive,
18
bro,
Deer,
survive.
he's not going to be able to pick himself back up. Unfortunately for 18 Deer, there's just too much problems for him to deal with, the blue zone being one of it. He actually survives, he brings himself back up, but again cannot survive the damage of the blue. But PogoStars have crippled EXPS enough. Now EXPS are in the red.
Smart play by 18 Deer. Circle played against him. Dew really low, and Axel finds Lozzie. Traded that back out though. And Lozzie and Ikal alongside them is gonna be Dark Hall as well, and they absolutely wipe Expand and kick them out of the 4th spot.
Man, that rush from Cobra and Crime a bit uncoordinated. They went in one by one into 3 gun barrels. And Thorad might have just found the round that we've been waiting for an entire weekend to stop. He's going to burn us down with that ice grenade. And Thorad with 13 eliminations only needs to take care of 2 EXPS members. And unless Stop and Deal can pull out something miraculous, this looks to be a Thorad round.
Thorad going for their very first booyah here. We've been waiting for them to wake up for the longest of time now. 4v2 should be an easy job to pull up and stop. Rushes straight towards him. The mini Uzi just not working. Ikal is there for that backup. You all alone has got the mini Uzi. Great at the start of the round, not really at the final circle. And Thorad picks up a prestigious booyah for themselves. And the first one at that.
About time Thorad finds something.
Yes.
After
Definitely
such a slow day one, you would think that, man, Thorad is not playing at the world stage at all. 45 points. They were in like, what, 14th place? And even the first 2 rounds didn't look too good, but this one is a boost of morale for them.
I hope this is the groove that they need to just start to really go off for the rest of the day, right? They want to make sure they guarantee that top 12, because I think even with this booyah, you don't take advantage. Don't get overconfident. We have seen teams before, they have a great round, they get lazy for the rest of the day, and then they realize, oh my gosh, we've just missed out on qualifications.
This is less of a lead and more of an equalizer for them. Like, they're making up of all the lost rounds that they had to go through previously. So again, they have 3 more rounds, give us average performances, and I think they just need to maintain the standard performance that we've seen them back in FFSI. I think Thorad will be fine.
My fear is that it's easy to say maintain an average performance, but for Thorad, that has been an issue for them for the entirety of the tournament.
I mean, they're already doing better than MIVR.
Yes.
So they just need to keep this up. And coming from Group A, you're definitely not going to be the top dog of Group A. I think the top 2 spots are already dominated by Buriram as well as Magic Squad. So you can just do your best by sticking to the 3rd. And this is something that we did discuss about Thorad from the very start of the competition. They're not going to be Titans round after round after round, hitting back-to-back-to-back booyahs. They're going to have very average rounds, and sometimes you're just going to see them wake up just a tad bit. And I think they started off the competition with just a little bit too much of confidence. They got into many sloppy engagements, and they were punished for that. This time round, Thorad, such a different formation from them, right? Very slow and calculated push in circle after circle, and all of those calculations checked out in the end.
Well, congratulations to Thorad for picking up their first booyah of the weekend and also getting those much-needed points to push them up that leaderboard.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that their Indonesian fans are going to want to hear what they have to say, because we are going to have an interview coming right up. But before that happens, though, we have to consider what is coming up next for all of us. Which you know what's happening next? Kalahari, 4th map.
Something exciting was
Come
happening.
on, that is exciting.
It is exciting.
It is exciting.
It is.
Most bored face ever on this.
Yeah, you know, it's
Thorad,
Come on, Husky.
27 points out of Thorad though. After not showing up,
yes.
you know, game after game after game, they finally step it up, and that's a great way to get things done, just to ramp it up just a tad bit before the final 3 maps of the day. And Thorad is actually quite fancy on Kalahari. Of course, not at the World Series thus far.
Well, do we have stats on how they did on Kalahari last?
No, actually. Well, you mean last as in day one?
Day
Last-
1.
We
I'm
definitely
not
have
sure
that
if you have the
information.
stats, but I think AJ might have the statistics here for Thorad. But I do
They
believe the
got
interview...
1 point.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not a great sign. Let's hear what Thorad have to say. Well...
Halfway through the competitions on the knockout stage, day 3, and we got another win from another team. Give it up for Thorad! Congratulations! Do you satisfied with your team performance overall?
Ya puas, alhamdulillah lah. Ada peningkatan meskipun sedikit, tapi yang penting ada.
Yeah, they are satisfied with their performance, even though there's some misplay. They are still satisfied with their play.
And Indonesian teams are much stronger in this year. Did you guys prepare the strategy better from last year?
Tim Indonesia tahun ini terlihat lebih kuat dibanding tahun sebelumnya. Kira-kira strategi apa sih yang beda dari tahun sebelumnya?
Mungkin kalau strategi pasti banyak yang beda. Jadi kita tetap berusaha improve aja.
Yeah, there's a lot of improvement for strategy, and they are keep improving to know better the enemy.
And you got your first booyah of this competition in the knockout stage, day 3. How do you plan to carry the momentum from this win into the next game?
Ini adalah booyah pertama kamu di knockout stage untuk FFWS. Gimana caranya kalian bisa menjaga momentum ini biar next match-nya bisa tetap bagus?
Tetap happy aja, tetap gembira aja.
Keep happy, keep play good.
Happy, have fun,
Yeah.
and the winning will come,
Yes.
right? Who was the key player of your team in the earlier game?
Menurutmu siapa pemain yang paling menjadi pemain kunci di kemenangan kalian di map barusan?
Darkol.
Darkol.
Ya, Darkol.
Their captain.
The captain was the best one in the earlier, right? And anything you want to say to your opponents here?
Apa yang mau kamu sampaikan untuk fans di Indonesia?
Buat fans yang di Indo, tetap dukung kita, support terus. Ya semoga kita bisa boya lagi. Amin.
Okay. For the fans in Indonesia, keep supporting us and hopefully we can booyah more in the next round.
Hopefully I get to talk to you more in the next round. Thank you so much and congratulations. Give it up for Torad and back to you, Shoutcaster.
This weekend, there has been a lot of respect given to the team's captains because why would you play on a team where you don't respect your teammates?
I mean, Darko is one of the few veteran captains from Indonesia, right? Him and Legalov, I think. Legalov definitely one of the oldest relics at this point. In a
You
good
make
way.
him sound
He's
like
furniture.
something that deserves
He's
to be in a
furniture in
museum.
RRQ at this point of time.
Exactly, right? You can't say RRQ, Free Fire, Akazu without Legalov. But I think Darko also plays a very important role in defining how this team plays. In fact, some of the best moments came from Darko making shot calls back in FFSI.
All right, we've got our elimination leaders for the round here, and we have North sitting pretty in first place with 5 eliminations, but at the same time tied with his teammate Lossie. So great start here for Thorad. I say start because I think this is finally a moment where we're looking at Thorad and saying like, okay, these guys are starting to wake up, they are starting to adapt to the meta, the playstyle. MVP is going to be Ikal. Do we have any disputes for this MVP?
Oh, honestly, not really. I think all 3 of them did fairly well, right? Because
AJ's making a face. I'm a bit concerned about this face.
No, man, I will not say anything at
Because
this
to be
point.
very fair, I think to be fair to generally like Torad or RQ Kazu when they win, when they get booyahs in certain rounds, they don't get it in. There's no like 1v4 flashy plays, right? It's just a more collected final circle for these guys.
So have we sort of identified the issue that Thorad has run into this weekend? Like, what do we feel is the reason why they haven't had success thus far?
I think they were just struggling mid-game. I think that early to mid-game is where Thorad really struggles the most, right? And I think the biggest problem is getting out of that 6 to 10 minute mark, because that's where teams are starting to move. You have the second and third circle, and that's where Thorad tends to find themselves caught up in some fights where they ended up losing.
Yeah.
Still confused for the MVP pick, but never mind.
This man's processing.
We'll get it fixed like after this week, right?
Yeah,
we have one more week of knockouts.
Only because there's $10,000 on the line. You know,
Exactly.
like I really want to know like what are the mechanics here. Unless he pulled off a fantastic play, I am in total agreement that Ikal is a great player, but North probably should have walked away with that one.
There's a method to the madness. We'll figure out what the method is very soon. Let's just
Madness
stick with the
nonetheless.
madness. Yeah. So here's the overall standings after our third match of the day, and we are starting to see some of these teams just continue to move along as Loud is continuously climbing up that leaderboard, now in 6th place. So they are making some considerable progress. Same can be said for Poco Star as well. And Thorad is now sitting in 11th place. The team must be feeling a big sigh of relief. They're not done yet, but they are in a position where they've more or less qualified for top 12.
Absolutely.
MVP leader still head by 2, right? 2 MVP. The only person with 2 MVP under his belt so far and across the most individual eliminations in the Hall of Fame of MVP. But for Thorat, that one good round actually put them in a safe spot, right? Because the team below them is has almost 15, 16 points behind him.
Yeah.
And I believe
that's
it's
more or less a round of points for the average
exactly.
team.
And I think it was Expand.
Osaka is right behind them.
Yeah, Osaka right
Expand.
behind them.
Um,
I think
Hot
it's
Shot as
Hot
well
Shot.
as MIBR, I think.
MIBR, yes.
Because I know-
MIBR has been
Oh,
struggling.
All Glory, sorry.
AGG, yes. Because I know Expand is tied with one of the teams at 65 points, but the most important thing is that Thorat just needed that one good round, and they're not even in the safe zone just yet. They just barely pulled themselves ahead.
I mean, they'll be happy for game number 3, right? Still 4, 5, and 6 left. Now, speaking of the next game, we are going to be returning to the sandy, deserty dunes of Kalahari, a map that a lot of teams tend to struggle with, but also a few teams that can really capitalize on the unique playstyle required to master such a big and open map. And gentlemen, let's take a look at some of the stats that we have from our past 2 days. Who are our Kalahari leaders?
Kalahari, honestly, the team that won Kalahari...
Buriram. Average points, they are the best.
Yes.
Most number of points collected on Kalahari thus far. Buriram's the best.
What was the team that got 37 points yesterday? That was not on Kalahari, right?
Nah. I don't think that was on Kalahari. Was that on Alpine?
I had a feeling it was, yeah. I
All
gotta
I
check
need
back.
to do is just scroll.
Looking at the numbers.
37 points.
37 points. The fact that
Kalahari, actually.
Yes.
You are right, sir. RRQ Kazu.
there it is.
Thank goodness they're not playing, man.
Well, they're done for the weekend, so we don't have to worry about them. But what we can worry about are our predictions, and I think across the board we are all expecting Buriram to take that first place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the previous round, it was pretty coincidental that Buriram, Magic, and Loud were all knocked out pretty early, like in the mid game.
We all cursed them.
So it's a good thing for teams that like Thorat, right, who ended up winning the entire round. But of course, they again need to polish up that early to mid game. That's where they always end up struggling, and it has been a recurring theme. Even when you look at the SCA Invitationals, you also have some rounds where Thorat just completely decided that we are gonna take some fights and not win them.
Yeah.
And I think coming into FFWS, the same problem still persists every once in a while, but not to the same degree as FFSI. In this case, it's more of we are fighting regions that we're not too familiar with, like Brazil, like LATAM, like MEA. This is where they start to run into other problems, like fitting into different playstyles.
Well, I do believe we are just about ready to fly in onto our 4th game of the day, which is going to be on Kalahari. The teams, they are more or less ready to go. We saw a few of them having a team discussion. I think coaches have already been moved out of the booth, so it's going to be up to the players to decide what they want to do, where they want to drop, do they want to potentially target anybody. I know it's still very early in the competition, but every now and again you do see a few teams farming extra points by hot dropping weaker teams. And I'm kind of wondering, are we going to see that at all this week, or is it going to be reserved for next week or the grand final weekend?
The one team I don't want to see hot drop is HEG. They have had 3 rounds where they just could not do anything. They ran into Poco Stars 2 rounds in a row, and then the 3rd round was, I don't remember which team, but there was a hot PE, right? So Poco Stars and PE have been their biggest nightmare so far.
Well, I think you have to wonder, are they really going to be the nightmare, or are they going to be the dream come true?
Dream come true?
Sometimes
I look at the points.
Sometimes you have to do the thing that was bad to realize, okay, we've done it wrong, but we can now do it the right way.
Look, this is not Taylor Swift. It's not like I'm your daydream
Don't
dressed in
give
a
marriage advice.
Yeah,
Don't give relationship advice, Dad.
No, I won't.
I think it's about like what Taylor Swift
Some
lyrics.
days you gotta do it wrong.
Like, I'm a daydream dressed in a nightmare. No, this is not it. This is a living nightmare for AGG.
Look, sometimes you got to do the silly stuff multiple times to realize, okay, wait, this actually is a mistake. But the players are ready to go. We are ready to go. Is it going to be a case of Buriram dominating Kalahari yet again, or are we potentially going to see a different team take the crown and take those points away? Kalahari, we are ready to go. Gentlemen, I want to ask you here, what do you think would be the most ideal flight path for Kalahari?
ideal.
Down the middle, as
Down
long
the
as
middle.
Down
it's
the
not
middle,
skewed
right
towards one.
over Refinery.
Yes, yes.
Is it
We
going to be skewed to
are-
one part?
We're going over
Santa
Catarina.
Catarina. So it's,
Oh,
Okay,
it's right down
not
the
the
center.
worst. It's not the
yeah,
worst.
it's not the
Honestly,
worst.
it's not the
Mammoth
worst.
is still reachable. So
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah, Oldhampton is going to have the high tier loot zone as well. So we are going to see who will grab that. Have we seen any teams that just sort of lock onto the high tier loot zone in this
No,
grouping?
No.
It has been varying.
And
been very-
Oldhampton is not really any of this team's favorite drop spot, so it should be an open blue circle.
Well, so far, it looks like it's been pretty open for all the teams. We are not seeing... Actually, there is
EXP, yes,
one
there it is.
battle happening on the right side of the screen. It's PE Esports. This poor team just constantly under siege. Or maybe they're the ones forcing the attack. We don't know.
PE Sports and Osaka nonetheless. So a change in scenery for Osaka at least. They're like, man, we have to fight PE Sports right now. UAV sent out very early on, but Osaka actually might just get the first blood onto New K depending on how this plays out. So New K will have to rendezvous with the rest of the squad.
This is just an unfortunate one because they usually go to Bayfront and Maze. They both decided to change their drop spots because of previously being hot dropped, and they just ended up hot dropping each other.
There's a Thoret guy. What are you doing? He's running into the battlefield knowing that there were teams fighting. I mean,
Poco?
it's a good attempt from North, I suppose, but
Mate,
Poco.
it's an Indonesian strat. They love to come in individually early game.
Okay, now we're getting this compound flanked by two players from Poco.
Okay, never mind.
No,
It's
no,
the whole
no. The
squad of
whole
Poco.
squad is
Okay,
coming.
they're like, oh, hey guys, there's a little bit of noise here. Let's third party. And Poco's going to be the happiest ones to walk away from this battle as Coast goes down.
Oh,
Pajaro, a
Osaka.
sliver of health. He needs to back away, but he doesn't.
Chris?
Narrow down as well.
Oh.
How Ang, here comes Poco to sweep the house.
Man, Hoang, he stands a good chance of getting taken out by Poco Stars, who surprisingly only has gotten 2 points. So at least the other two teams are trading back and forth. But if you are PE Esports, you are drawing the short end of the stick. And just as things foretold, PE Esports, the first team to get knocked out. But Osaka might be a close second though. 18 deer grapples on top of the roof. And look at Osaka, they don't have much medkits to work with. Coast is basically down in the red.
Not looking too good here for Osaka, but we'll have to see if they can come out of this safely. Although, look at this, Hot Shots is even coming in as well. We've got Action skirting around the edge. We can't quite see if his team is nearby, though, so it could just be one player. But no, we are seeing multiple Hot Shots coming into this battle. So we are looking at a potential war zone here, gentlemen.
I don't know about that. I'm just looking at potentially Poco walking away with the biggest win here because all Hotshot will be doing by approaching the situation with Action up on top is just giving teams like Poco an opportunity to farm even more points. But look at Poco though. Just backing away towards the edge of this compound. They don't want to get into a messy situation.
Yeah, Anas knows that he has drawn some attention from Poco Stars. So now Harsha needs to make a decision. What do you want to do right now, right? Because they have committed to being a part of this. You can't just bail out at this moment.
Speaking of bail, Osaka has sent one player away, leaving the rest here. So I think they are anticipating on getting knocked out, but hopefully being able to revive the entire team in one go.
Yeah.
So
You got to play your insurance, and that's a smart
yeah.
And even the guy that ran away might go down because he got spotted out by Thorat of all teams.
He also has to wait for his teammates to go down, because if they don't go down, you can't revive them. So we'll see.
Go out, get taken out right now.
Free Fire doesn't really work like that, Husky.
I think this is Harry Potter
Maybe.
from across the battlefield. Avada Kedavra! Guy goes down.
All right.
Unless he's got an AWM, it's not going to happen.
Bit of a stalemate between these two teams as well. Poco and Hotshots
Yeah.
not really having the best angle.
Hotshot does not have enough info to work with. Even you can see like Anderson, actually they were targeting a tree where there was no one there, and Raz actually gets dropped by Action. That is a decent start, actually even picking up that elimination. So even though Fire is tracing back, at least Hotshot dealt some damage. Able to bring Anas back up. Action there for the rescue. And this is a reset for Hotshot.
Liam should have just taken that advantage, but he chooses to hold back. 18DN not anywhere close to him to give him the backup he definitely will need against these two players from the side of Hotshot. Anas, 18-17 in hand. All he needs is just one good headshot from a distance like this, and it's going to be game over, but gets a double tag. And Liam leaves himself with the trip mine.
He tries to big brain in. You know what? I'm gonna place a trap mine here.
Liam earned a triple elimination, and he was the third one.
The game knows how to have fun.
Yes, it does.
Liam was like, I'm gonna place a trap. I'm gonna place a landmine. They're gonna boost over the wall and step onto it, and then he steps onto it himself.
My goodness. And then he earns that title.
Someone needs to clip that. That production.
After he goes down. Triple kill.
Triple kill.
All right, looks like Osaka has managed to get the reset, gentlemen. So the entire team is back up. Unfortunately for Poco Stars, I think it's just 2 players remaining. They need to get a revive in themselves. So maybe Osaka could get that much needed revenge after that early assault.
You know what I want to see? I want the POV to be on. Okay, there it is. So on Poco, unfortunately, the third elimination didn't count for Liam. He still has an official 2 elims. Kind of feels bad. I wish he had 3. That would have been funny.
That would be abusable, I feel.
That would have been. That would have made the joke come full circle.
Oh, they're going in, Husky.
Osaka, they have a good chance of cleaning this up. 2 against 4. Chris just straight out loses that one. Fires MK, just runs in with a Tatsuya, catches him off guard, but still he has to deal with 3 members of Osaka.
Tagged by the A124 now. Can't use his active skills. Grenade. Easily dodged. As Esteban pulls away from this equation. Fires. Chases with AC-80. Just a couple of tags on Esteban. And he has got nowhere else to go. Santa Catarina. Straight outside the circle. This is a blue that he can tank. But how long will he be pursued? We'll have to wait and see.
All right.
Wow,
so
what a circle. Look at that.
Oh, all right. So just south of Refinery, that's going to be roughly where the teams need to head to. We are seeing a bit of a skirmish here with Expand, actually throwing out a couple of pot shots, but not connecting onto anybody as of yet.
Too Fast needs to get this. MIBR actually trapped on the low ground. Too Fast now getting swarmed, but good backup from Cobra, keeping him intact. Too Fast.
180.
Faster on the trigger this time. And MIBR again still not finding their groove on day 3 of this knockout stage. Crime MKS will need some help, but we'll Expand. We'll make sure that he receives the 8 he wants. 4 points for them.
Fantastic engagement. And Too Fast really recovered quick in that situation there. Was shooting at a glue wall, trying to create some space for himself. Spots a player right behind him. And the cleanest 180 we have seen Too Fast execute in a long, long time. AGG, on the other hand, is playing with a little bit of a high ground advantage, but unfortunately, it's unadvantageous at this point of time because nobody's there.
Yeah. HG also went for a sub as well. Joel is out, and they brought in Verito this time. Primarily, the Latin teams are struggling, right? I mean, Latin, in this case, AGG. For Brazil, is MIBR, and both teams have gone for subs. At least they have switched the roster up a little bit, and still have been struggling to find that momentum, to find a tempo. Feels like they don't really have a place, at least when it comes down to the A and C grouping.
Yeah. Now, speaking of momentum, oh, hang on a minute. We've got Osaka copying a little bit of damage here.
Let's go.
Still not in a great position, though. I kind of feel like Osaka, they constantly caught out in the open. They're constantly engaging people. We're not really seeing them being able to just sort of put their foot down and say, this is our place. I mean, they're always walking into somebody.
They did get a booyah yesterday on Kalahari, and that was round number 6. So imagine if they get the booyah again. There is a possibility for that to happen, right? But again, you got to cut through hot shot first. Yeah. It'll be admirable even more if they get rid of BRU, who are right behind them.
UAV sent towards hot shot, focusing on the wrong opponents here, Osaka. Obviously, they don't know that they've got a couple of big fishes waiting for them inside of command post. And Get High already scouting the situation. Wasana getting into position as well. Has got, I believe, an AW. No, it can't be an AWM. It wasn't an MA2B as well. We need to spot him again. Either way, he's got a sniper, SVD.
So command post and BRU, they are very, very well equipped. They are in a good spot. In fact, they're trying to match the movements of Osaka. BRU, they are not afraid to take this fight.
Good flank around Buriram. Quickly repositioning to face the encounter here.
The timing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my. Thank you for coming, sir.
The timing could not have been crazier.
Uh-oh.
Cole is going to drop all the way down. He is gone. And Buriram, they're going to have a field day on top of this tower. This guard tower is just completely controlled. And Thora just showed up on the low ground.
Oh no.
Osaka is going to have a rough time.
Good reposition from Wasana to back away from that high ground as Thoret approaches the situation. UAV sent out as well. Smart play from Thoret to get that information. Ikal, wrong gun up top with the M1014. Bursts through a couple of glue walls, but has no idea where he can move on to because Osaka's right behind Thoret now. Thoret's walked right into this.
Actually, Thoret walked right past Chris, so he might be able to get out of this. AGG, on the other hand, finds himself 2 knocks onto EXPS, but no secure just yet. Unfortunately, Burrito will deliver the first stop, will come in for the exchange. So 1 for 1 so far. Casper actually gets sprayed down by Lopez. A great job coming in from the flank, but stopped keeping his team in the fight.
Lozzie finds get high as well. Thoret doing fantastic against Buriram. Moshi and Jonah, the 2 clutch players out of Buriram, hanging on for their dear lives. And Jonah just did not anticipate that spray down from Ikal. And Thoret now, 1 final player, but he is the clutch god Moshi himself. What can the guy do? Has got the AWM, 1 shot, misses that. Great blue wall, speeds on in front, but no chance this time around as Lozzie Trogots him down.
Yeah, not this time, Moshi, not this time. Thoret, 5 eliminations already, taking control the entirety of command posts. On the other end, at Mammoth, AGG and the XPS are still going at it. Loud, in the meantime, have just found themselves facing up against Expand, and they have 2 observers, the jury of Poco Stars and Osaka.
Teams are trying to hang on at this point. We've got 9 teams remaining in this game. In the circle, we're coming down to our 4th circle very soon.
Nice.
Dew going to come in for the buyback. AGG, though, eliminated in 9th place. So we are now down to 8 teams.
The smooth revival from Dew. Jumps out of the circle, gets the quick buyback of his team member, grapples himself right back in.
Uh-oh, Thoret showing up. Hotshot just arrived. Okay, what is the move from Expand? Well, Hotshot will have to deal with Loud first on the low ground, and Expand will have to deal with Thoret. It's going to be 2 different fights on 2 different ends. Osaka will be eliminated as Too Fast finds the last man. Chris can't survive.
Low ground now, disadvantage for Expand. They're surrounded by 2 teams. Thankfully, it is Hotshot on the left-hand side. A little bit more of an equal battle for Expand. Thoret is on fire, but getting pincered from the back by Thoret of all teams at this point of time could just be deadly for Expand.
I think Lau might just want to leave because Magic Squad also showed up near them. Expand making the smart move to reposition on top of the sub, but they got to minimize as much damage as possible. Now Lau fighting with their own comrades from the side of MGS. Action, he's gonna go for a reposition, tanking some of the damage from that ice grenade. In fact, seeing Loud on the top, on the high ground. It's gonna be a messy fight. Poco Star now joins in.
Too Fast returning the favor this time around, picking Cobra right back up, but Lozzie shows up in the nick of time. Puts Cobra right back down, avoids the engagement.
Too Fast?
Too Fast sprays him right back out. Pull a glue wall. He still has some time, but Too Fast sprayed down by Ikal instead as Thoret gets involved.
Ikal is trying to go for the finisher right now. And Expand, they're running out of members. Axel, the 3rd one to fall. Could be just the end for Expand at this point. Hasu on the other end, getting blasted in the face, but Fives Poco wants a piece of this. They're sustaining heavy damage in the meantime. Action and Sajid actually coming from the backstab, and Poco Stars realize that, man, the field has been turned around against them. But Action, if the HP Expand loses out, as Kawan picks up the last man on their end.
Great play and quick loots as well from Kawan. They continue into the next safe zone. Now, although they are above the sub, this is just going to give them that fantastic bird's eye view, but it is also going to be a deadly drop if they are forced off here by any of these teams. Poco Stars outside of the circle, not a place you want to be at this point.
Look at Thoret, the amount of control they have right now, the gatekeep that they can just put onto Loud and Poco Stars. It looks very hard to break through though, and they are very healthy with almost 10 eliminations at this point. The blue zone will prove to be a bit of a challenge to navigate with Lost firing at them from the high ground.
Seeing a lot of teams battling it out in the right side of that circle, but a team that we haven't really seen is Magic Squad. They are towards the southern end of this circle, and it seems because it's so quiet, they are ready and poised to attack these teams as they come into this circle. I have to say though, Thoret, they have really picked up their game in Kalahari. We weren't expecting them to go this... we weren't expecting them to be cooked, and they are cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, EXPS staying silent as well, so that's going to be a deadly team to take on a little bit later on. But Loud, that high ground advantage no longer serving them well as they have to hop off of the sub. Circle pushing them in straight towards Thorad, and this is a smart maneuver straight towards the team of Loud as they rotate in looking for the circle. Kawan's going to be tagged up a tad bit. Lost 21 backing him up as well. And they are going outside the circle. Beautiful backstab. And Mexico gets the snipe from afar.
Ika will be able to drop Lost, but look at the Casper from
quick.
EXPS. EXPS
They better
picking
be
up
quick.
stragglers on both these teams from afar. Caramel finds 2 in a row.
Beauty.
Torad and Lau both sustaining heavy damage, and they both boogie taken out. And it's now EXPS against Magic Squad. And if you're MGS, if I can't take out Buriram, perhaps I will start with the XPS.
XPS 10 eliminations thus far. Caramel deadly with a grenade launcher from afar. Tanks up
Mexico.
3 players all at the same time. Yago down on the ground.
Uh-oh.
Good side. Very low on the HP as well. Stop moves right on in. Outside the circle. Gio backing away with the lowest of HP. Casper should be able to drop in with this next shot, but he gets away. MGS down in second, and EXPS on a booyah at Kalahari.
Straight up fireworks show at the very end. The amount of explosives that the XPS brought to that open field fight is just immeasurable. Magic Squad just had still no chance. Like, what do? You have bullets, they have grenades. I wonder which one is stronger.
I wonder which one is stronger. We definitely don't know the answer to
Depends
that.
on which one connects.
Exactly. I have to say though, especially towards the tail end of that circle, I looked at Loud. You know, we saw that last skirmish before the team unfortunately just sort of dropped to that blue zone. I experienced a moment of deja vu. This is something that seems to be a trend with Loud, being confident enough to fight within the blue zone that late into the game, and it makes you wonder. Loud has a lot of potential as a team. We've seen this team cook. But is that aggressive play potentially holding them back from pursuing a better placement in this match?
I think they are playing it so much better today because yesterday it was more of that aggression. Today is more of the positioning. If you notice, there's been many of these games where they're constantly focusing on that high ground advantage, even on that sub. That's exactly what they were looking for. They weren't actually looking for the vending machine. They weren't looking for revival points. They were just looking to get that bird's eye view information, and then being an aggressive team who's capable of great aim, they make good use of that bird's eye view. So very smart adjustment from the Brazilians.
Well, it has been decided our 4th team to get the booyah for the day. I have to say, if you're a fan of EXPS, it's been a bit of a struggle bus for them today. Not as strong as yesterday, but to be fair, the competition is much steeper today.
That's true.
But fans of EXPS are going to be very happy with their performance. What did EXPS do better this round that they didn't do in their previous rounds?
I think EXPS has overall been doing very, very well to keep themselves on a high average. Well enough to take the throne away from Buriram at the very least by the end of the day. So, I mean, that's a lot. That's massive for EXPS. Mainly because it seems like they've been silent all this while, but silent assassins they are.
Yeah. And I think also in this round we saw a lot of teams deciding to join in ongoing fights, right? Like Buriram against Osaka, they started that. Thorad decides to join in and wipes out BRU.
Yeah.
But the big one was kind of the 6-way fight between Expand, Thorad, Pokostar, Hotshot, Osaka.
Half the lobby.
Half the lobby, basically. And Thorad actually got off to a great start, but they took a bit too long in the blue zone, and that's what cost them their downfall.
Well, it looks like the interview is ready, so let's hear what the team has to say.
Incredible performance from every team, but now it's time to shine the spotlight on one of the winning team. Give it up for EXP Esports. Congratulations and welcome back once again. You are at the top of the MVP leader now, and can you explain why you play so well in this Free Fire World Series 2023?
ตอนนี้เราเป็นท็อป MVP ของเกมเลยทำไมเราถึงเล่นได้ดีขนาดนี้คะ
เพราะว่านอนเยอะครับนอนเต็มอิ่ม
Because I get full sleep.
That's a tip and technique from Dio, right? Do you think that current meta is try to have more combats and get points from eliminations?
คิดว่าเมตาปัจจุบันที่เราแข่งเนี่ยค่ะ อันไหนสำคัญกว่ากันระหว่างการเก็บแต้มอีลิมกับแรงค์
ทั้งคู่ครับก็ต้องให้ได้ที่ 1 แล้วก็ประมาณ 8 คิวขึ้นครับ
I think both because we have to be the top one and get at least 8 eliminations.
Do you satisfied with your team performance for today?
รู้สึกพอใจกับผลงานของทีมในวันนี้ไหมคะ
พอใจครับก็วันนี้ก็เป้าหมายก็คือประมาณ60 คะแนนครับ
I'm very satisfied and my target is to get 60 points at least
Do you have any improvement from yesterday plays
รู้สึกว่าทีมมีพัฒนาการยังไงบ้างจากเมื่อวานไหมคะ
ก็เล่นตามที่ซ้อมครับ แล้วก็ที่เหลือก็คือทามมิ่งครับ
Just play as we practice and let the timing decide us
What is your team target on the last day of week 1
เป้าหมายของวันนี้คืออะไรคะ
ก็ได้ 60 คะแนนครับ
60 points for today
60 points for today and lastly anything you want to say to your Thai fans
ฝากข้อความถึงแฟนๆทางบ้านหน่อยค่ะ
ฝากติดตาม EXP Esports นะครับ เดี๋ยวจะทำให้เต็มที่ครับ
Please support EXP Esports and we are trying our best
Yes and hold on Thai folks because the best is yet to come back to Shoutcaster
Well, supposedly 60 was the goal, but they've already exceeded those 60 points.
You think that from a Thai team, they would say like 100 points, at least 80 points, right?
I was going to say 100 is a bit steep, but 80 is more, manageable.
It's like asking Jonah what's his target for the championship, and he's like, well, first place, nothing less than that.
Yeah, but
They set the
these
bar
are
a bit
really
too low.
humble boys.
Yes.
If there's something that we know about the Thai players, the Thai teams, they are all very humble people. The problem here is for Buriram, they better step it up because EXPS is about to run away with that #1 spot by the end of the day.
It's just a knockout stage, don't worry.
That's what I've been saying all day, and then these guys are...
I've always said it matters. What are you talking about? I've been the first person to advocate.
Fight.
I agree though. I definitely agree.
gosh.
It's not too big of a loss, but they are also, of course, fighting for that MVP prize. And at the moment, Dew is kind of like holding on to it pretty strong.
There's a chance he just added one to the list, right? One more MVP title. He's the only one with 2 MVP titles under his belt so far. If he gets one more, that's 3.
Yeah.
And that's going to put him way ahead of the competition, right?
I mean, that's the only reason why I see teams need to go for the Booyah.
It's
Because
not
that's
easy.
what qualifies you for the MVP.
It's not easy to get the MVP title. You need to beat 11 teams, and out of that 11 teams you still need to beat your other 3 teammates.
Yep.
So you are fighting. It's an uphill battle. But needless for this case, Caramel and Stop were the one that were putting in the numbers. 9 eliminations in between them.
Okay, if Dew gets the MVP title this time, I'm gonna have questions.
Big questions.
Big.
Well, we are going to find out right now. Our MVP is going to be Dew. Man's concerned.
I know I called this, but man, don't worry. We have 1 week to fix this.
1 week to fix this?
We'll get this sorted out before next weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do not disagree with the fact that Dew is an instrumental player. The snipes are spicy. He's the one that opens up the defenses of their opponents, especially in a 4v4 straight-up battle.
What is the metric? I think that is the question.
Exactly. Yeah, the metric just needs to be known. But let's take a look at their lineup instead. Dimitri, Steffi, A124 on the setup. And Caramel's one of the only few players that actually runs the Steffi still in the competition.
Yeah, it's very less players that runs the Steffi. I think it's as rare as Skylar and Chrono, right? Chrono was ran by, I think, Poco Star or RRQ Kazu, one of those teams. And for Skylar, it was ran by, I think, the Latin team. So it's very far few in between. But in this case, I think it also was what we saw yesterday from EXPS. The few teams that run the Steffi, but they play it in a very offensive manner.
Well, here's the game standings, gentlemen, just to see the point distribution for the latest round, game number 4. And these scores are going to be added to the overall score so we can see where these teams are going to be. We're going to show it in just a second here. But we are seeing teams climb. And while some are climbing, some are slowly falling.
I mean, Buriram on the 4th spot with 147 and EXPS now on 2nd with 171. Only 6 more points to catch up, 7 points to beat RRQ for the #1 spot. I mean, they are having a fantastic day. And this is exactly what I meant by silent assassins, right? They barely show up, but they're still showing up strong.
Yeah, the gap between the Brazilian teams and the Thai teams are starting to really show itself, right? The closest team that I think Magic Squad and Lau can catch up to is probably Buriram, right? The CGG and EXPS are up there. And that can still increase because we have 2 more rounds to go. The only Brazilian team that I mentioned earlier on that's having a tough time, MIBR, they are kind of at the bottom 6.
They are. Well, we're going to talk about more later on, but we will have a short break. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Hello survivors and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023 Week 1 Day 3, also the last day of competition for this weekend. We are about to wrap up the day with our last 2 games of the day, which is the last hurrah for everybody competing in groups A and C. My name is Danielle, and of course joining me is the wonderful, the mustachio, AJ and Husky. Gentlemen, we are about to jump into Nextera for map number 5. And so far the brackets, some teams are concerned, some teams are okay with their position. Buriram, I think from what we saw on Friday, this is a bit of a downer day for Buriram.
It's a slower day.
A slower day.
My biggest concern is now for MIBR because they've gotten an average of, get this, 1 point per round. They've only gotten 4 points so far.
That's not a very good average to have.
It's
and on the flip side of things, I'm actually looking forward to Thoret playing Nextera and finally showing us what they can do. The last time they went to Nextera, they picked away 4 points, but today they're the second best performing team, just behind EXPS. So they might just step it up next one.
But okay, here's the thing that you have to be a little bit worried about with Thoret, right? So we've seen them perform rather well for the past 2 maps. 4 maps. Well, they've done pretty well all day today, right? Like we had high expectations on Friday. They've definitely met them today. But do you feel like there might be a chance that the gas is starting to run out of the tank? Because some teams, when they have those really great days, you can tell as the day goes on, they start to peter out.
I think they just fueled up. They started out with
empty,
half
and
an
then
empty tank. And then they finally went to the gas station, and now they're excited. Now they're just zooming through. You know, they're not wasting any time. They are heavy footing this gas pedal, and I think they're gonna burst through the other end of the map if they don't slow down.
I think I've seen very few teams that can go from 0 to 100 and then maintain their performance at 100 throughout the whole tournament. I think the last team I saw that can do that was E-Arena, and they're not here, right? And that was back in FFSI.
That's crazy that E-Arena is actually not here.
Yeah, and C-Triple-G wasn't even part of FFSI, right? We had Buriram, we had Nigma Galaxy, now called EXPS, and then E-Arena at that time was literally the best team. No one could come close to them. They won a 3-day grand final on day 1 itself.
That is correct, yes.
And yet they're not here. So I mean, the Thai teams are crazy.
Anything can happen in a game of Free Fire. It just comes down to whether the stars align.
Apart from Buriram, all other Thai teams, unfortunately, are inconsistent. Buriram's the only consistent ones, regardless of re-roster, regardless of organizational changes. They have always been able to deliver. It might not be very visible match after match because we see games like the previous one where they've bombed out, but it really matters not to a team like Buriram who can smash records in a simple game.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could play amazing.
When you look at like the past 2 years, all the international events that they've been a part of, their worst placement was like 5th or 7th. And their best placement was
That's actually pretty dang good for a team.
It's actually a team that's very capable, but it's a team like me where I can do. It's a team like me where I can do a lot of things, but I'm just lazy to do them. Therefore, I don't do much.
I'm not sure if I was supposed to go on that, but all right.
I mean, they can win all the Booyahs, but they're just so lazy. They're like, why should I?
Well, I think that's something to consider as well, right? It's like, why should they show everything now when they can show it later, where it matters more? Well, we'll see what happens later on, but the teams have loaded into the plane. Their pods are going to be loaded in just a second, but we are jumping into Nextera. This is the last confirmed map before we head on over to the random map that might throw things, including the kitchen sink, out the window, but that's going to be a discussion for later on. Nextera is the topic of today. Who's going to grab this booyah? Who's going to go further? And who potentially is going to drop? Because unfortunately, only one team can win, and not everyone can be some kind of winner in a game of Free Fire. There's got to be a few losers.
11 in total.
11.
No, I'm just kidding. Just because you get the booyah doesn't make you a winner, boy.
Well, technically it is true. But yes, what a flight path.
What I'm looking at is how many teams will end up at Intellect Center, because so far teams have been
very
big fans of that area.
I think so. In Group A, we saw I think 3 teams drop into Intellect Center, and then the Group B, C, I think there were only 2 teams. So
very nice.
It looks like it's just going to be 1 team this round.
It's just Magic Squad. Okay.
Buriram
and Loud are going to be dropping at the same place. Osaka and EXPS also.
Run, boy, run.
In the same area.
The AN-24 in hand. Osaka doesn't really have the best of loots. A couple of assault rifles. And in early engagements like this, you really want a SMG for yourself, like what Lima has in his hand.
XPS actually split up a little bit and ended up losing Caramel. So this is definitely not a fight that they want to really commit to. If Osaka rushed them right now, they could easily just get 2 points.
Oh, Dew's like, thank you very much,
Well, I
but
think
I'm not up for this.
the fact that Osaka's giving them so much respect, I think you have to do this sometimes. Oh my gosh, we've got one knock already, Husky.
Don't give him the 1v1s. You gotta outnumber him, right? You gotta try and win in terms of having enough manpower, and that is not really the start you want as Osaka, considering that it was only stop, and you still gave one guy away.
This is a 4v2 at that point, and now a 3v2. One revival is there for Coast. He's barely back, so if EXPS wants to strike, they have to strike when the iron is hot.
Yes.
Beautiful P90 stuff, but Esteban wins it out with FP40 and a double as Casper goes down as well. The time is up for EXPS. Osaka disposes of the final 2 players here.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
We see Poco Stars actually coming into this fight as well. We're not quite sure if it was just one player or the entire team. It's probably just a scout, just to try and spot where some of these teams are. But we have Loud here on the screen.
MIBR is fighting AGG, but MIBR actually just brought Pitbull back after 1 round of having him sit out. So
yeah,
that is interesting.
Maybe he just needed to use the washroom.
Sure, I suppose. The breaks are pretty short.
And it's not like a lot changed with the substitute, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, they only have 4 points, but yes, the point is pretty clear. You've made your point.
Jonah backing away, Loud, big engagement. Kawan, backstab. Perhaps Get High. If Get High gets caught out by Kawan, this could be game-changing for Loud. But the guy just zooms around and leaves the rest of his team members one-man short. Wasana tagged up, Get High with a mini Uzi, goes to town as Mexico drops Wasana. Boshi trades Mexico right back out. Buriram winning this engagement hands down.
Loud felt completely unprepared for this Buriram rush. And they will pay a hefty price for it as Buriram looking to clean them out. Loud just they get nothing.
Lost training 1, really? He had 5 headshots?
No conversions, and it doesn't matter too much at the end,
Who did he shoot? The guy
Who
didn't
did
take anyone down with those headshots.
Definitely not with a sniper rifle, that's for sure. Osaka is out.
Osaka.
It's not having a game at all. Okay, Sajid, okay, finding that lovely stuff.
Nice one from Anas.
Nero would chip away some of his health, but where's Anas gonna come from? Does Nero know this though? Yep, gonna go for the pincer.
Oh, beautiful!
This is how you do it, hot shot. Pick them off, get the numbers advantage. Action will receive help, no problem.
Oh, smart stuff out of Hotshot thus far. But Action and Hasu needs to slow down a tad bit. But PE didn't stand a chance against a souped-up Hotshot this time round. 6 eliminations in hand. Smart stuff out of the squad.
And it is actually the first round they brought DNP in, and they got knocked out within 4 minutes. So it's not the best opening for him. And Cobra actually finding Eco. So Thorat losing this skirmish against Expand.
A little bit of a revenge here from Team Expand against Thorat. But that's just 1. 3 more to go. And it's not the kind of situation where Expand wants to go hunting for elimination points. So sticking by this vending machine, getting those upgrades, gonna be the bigger priority now.
They use a Dinoculus from XL, but not sure where he was scouting. Thorat will evacuate from that location. Wow, Lopez, what a shot on the Stark.
AGG slowing things down. MIBR barely injured from the previous engagement. Brought their players right back, but EXPS now just the better team to take on Hotshot as they are hot. Let's see if or not the Pakistanis can get the job done. Action and Anas just way too far away. But Hasu can go in for the pincer alongside Sajid, but Dew just shimmies both of them, traps them inside of the assault refinery here, but it is an opportunity for Sajid to back away. Grenade tags him up just a tad bit. Dew still with the pistol, running circles around these 2 boys.
Sajid has a grenade launcher. He's just waiting for the opportunity to use it. Hasu's backing him up. Dew brought down very, very low with 0 medkit. Should be an easy knock there. Sajid finds it from the side.
That's just illegal, allowing Dew to juke you around for that long with just a secondary. But Dew's a monster.
They should be able to find Caramel at least. It's a consolation prize. Sajid will get knocked down first as the guy with the most eliminations, 5 under his belt. Sajid actually wiped out But Action will trade him back. In the meantime, Thorad up against Expand. Cobra winning that 1v1. As he gets a knock onto North. Finds the glue wall, block him out. This should be the finisher on side of Expand, and Cobra will make sure it happens.
Great play, too fast, backing up Cobra. Lozzy and Ekal meeting them on the left-hand side as they take that rotation. High ground advantage now for Expand. Dark all down, Raz off screen, finds Jonah, Poco. Big fight against Buriram.
And Darko picks himself back up and goes down again. Expand finding multiple members of Thorad as Lozzy also on the run, but Cobra, he has his scent. And Expand finds 6 eliminations by wiping out Thorad.
Great execution this time around from the bottom teams, Hotshot as well as Expand. If there's a time to wake up, no better time than the final day of week number 1. The XPS though, do they want to continue this engagement against Hotshot? Poco on the other hand, 7 eliminations in hand already.
7 that we never saw, apparently.
That is?
There are quite a number of those.
We've had a lot of
look at that.
To be fair, this has been a pretty active game as well. It's been pretty slow up until this point, but the teams have really picked it up, especially on Nexterra.
Hotshot has 8 eliminations. Can you believe it?
Yes.
Still looking for more. The XPS not given a break at all. Hotshot really wants some Thai team eliminations right now.
That's a big drop. Let's see if they can go in here for the push as well. Sajid leading the fray, due a couple of seconds away from topping his health up. Does he have a med kit though? Seems to be the situation that he just does not. As if he had, okay, finally picked one up for himself. So Due's gonna be right back in action in a little bit. So Hotshot just needs to pull this rush as quickly as they can.
Yeah, then they're running EXPS out into the blue zone as well. They're getting very, very close. And whoever gets knocked out here, whoever wins this fight actually gains access to the circle where MIBR is guarding. So this is even more important for Hotshot. BRU on the other hand also finds himself fighting against Magic Squad. Wasana finding the first one onto GU. He will be confirmed by Jonah.
Not looking too good here for Magic Squad, unfortunately. The team's been pushed out by Buriram. Buriram trying to get as many points as they can. And actually, we're seeing the team launch themselves over. And I think they've successfully gotten away there. So Buriram not going to be able to get anything else out of this. Just a little bit of loot, I suppose, and then get into that safe zone.
Yeah. Good disengage from Magic Squad. Using the UAV just to be sure if Buriram is chasing them. MIBR on the other hand, again, able to regroup with the rest of the squad, but they do not have the most resources to work with, and they're still not done just yet. AGG coming back for round number 5 on this map.
Pitbull's in for MIBR. Perhaps that's the bit of difference here as Zhao 7 gets taken out of the rotation. All players have been revived thus far already, so the loot on their side shouldn't be as hot, but they did have a vending machine to make a couple of purchases on, and AGG out in the open now. Pitbull, stock 10, SVD in hand, opportunity with the Woodpecker as well. RGS 50 gets whipped out, but the grenades are just not going to find perfect connections.
And Lopez actually finds the snipe onto Zetsu. Out in the open some more, he doesn't really have that much cover to work with, and those blue walls get brought down one by one. EXPS brings the whole squad back after getting chased down 10 miles by Hotshot. Speaking about Hotshot, they actually showed up behind MIBR. EXPS, they are also nearby. You can see the detour instantly after seeing this entire fight happening on ground.
Hotshot actually leading the lobby now with the most number of eliminations this time around. Giving up on each.
12! My goodness.
Going for MIBR. Can they get the job done? Drogon swapped out by Hasu. Zetsu down on the ground. Grows out for action. Fantastic headshot. Wants to find the connection, but has to slow down the pace as he's low on HP. Sajid down on the ground. But Action finding yet another for the team.
Just great coordination from the Hotshot boys. Anna, Sajid, Hasu, Action. They
Poco,
all
Poco's coming in.
Poco stars finding Hasu in the back. And 18 there will confront the first one. MIBR gets wiped out by a Hotshot, but they do not have much time to rest. Now they're going to face the entire squad of Poco Stars.
This is a tougher fight for Hotshot, and this is the right decision made. The boys say, not now,
respect,
not just yet. They back away from that engagement, and Poco says, good on you. We're not going to pursue.
Great decision there. Just focus on your self-preservation, loot, get ready to go into that next circle. Now, it looks like we have a perspective here of BRU, but they are going to run into Expand here. But the question is, does Expand know where they are? Because Expand is running in the opposite direction.
Smart play from the MCPS squad.
But we've got EXPS in the other side where Expand is running towards. So this could be problematic for the boys.
What they're doing here is Expand. They move into a good high ground position here. One more shot from Cobra could have done the player in. Woodpecker in hand. Has got great armor penetration. Moshi.
There we go.
Down on the ground though, it is Raz with the knock who claims the elimination. Expand furiously shot after shot, but we don't get a confirmation as we jump into the aerial cam.
I mean, if you are Expand, you are completely fine with that. That was just overall the better move because you get to put pressure not just on the BRU, but onto every single team that are on the low ground.
Yeah, great stuff.
You have VXPS down there, you have Magic Squad, and the best part is these teams will have to fight against each other, and you can start picking up some of these stragglers. GU being forced all the way back into the building.
Bit of a stalemate here for everybody as they have secured themselves a compound. Nobody is forced to move. It's going to be the teams outside the circle that's going to have to make that first move. But Magic Squad not looking to be in a pretty good spot. The team is either stuck outside or bleeding inside the circle. So we'll have to see if they can get that recovery. But oh my gosh, look at this next circle. It's right where EXPS is.
And we have to abandon their high ground, unfortunately.
Yeah. 40 seconds though for a good rotation, and it looks like the compound, the defensive hut right in front of them is absolutely clear. EXPS has got no idea that Expand just took the position right behind them, so this is going to be very dangerous for EXPS. A couple of grenades chucked from the side of Expand could just do them in, but if Expand is smart, they will wait for either Buriram or AGG to find that initial connection first. Hot shot a little bit too slow for the rotation in for that safe zone, so this is dangerous for the Pakistanis.
AGG also just rolled up in the hood right behind EXPS. Might be able to start out BRU as well. It's a pretty scary circle. All these major compounds have been taken away. You still have Hotshot. Are going to be coming in from the outskirts.
Late to the party. Poco
Poco's
joining
moving. Yep.
the circle as well. And come on, Hotshot, you can't mess this one up. Two survivors hanging on for their dear lives. Playing with the circle still at this point.
It's going to be hard for Hotshot. They literally have no cover to work with unless every single team is distracted. Hotshot are going to find it very hard to get into the circle. They will try, but in vain.
It was Poco essentially shutting them down and denying them that opportunity to go into that late game. But it looks like AGG under siege, actually losing a couple players there.
Great confirmed by Axel. One player off of AGG's lineup. But that's not going to be the biggest threat in this circle, as the safe zone closes in on everyone, making this an absolute chaotic party. Expand is in a great spot, but the best position held by Poco on that high ground.
This is such an awkward late game as well because there are two levels. You've got players on the ground level and you've got players on the upper levels. And so as that circle gets smaller and smaller, there's going to be big decisions that have to be made, whether you stay on that high ground or you eventually hit that low ground. And going down, it's not going to be safe.
Where's this last circle going to go? Wow, it's actually already the last circle, so they have to start planning out the end game.
EXPS is actually pretty good here. They're dead center.
They don't need to do much. They just need to hunker down.
It's Poco that has to jump down. Poco has to jump down. AGG needs to move as well.
Everybody except EXPS now needs to really move. Poco perhaps can play a little bit of a safer play, but because of their high ground advantage, they're going to open fire for sure against BRU or Expand the moment they step out of those defenses. AGG could do them in, but AGG themselves are looking for a safer ground.
Oh, Expand. They might lose a player here. Luckily able to get behind that glue wall in time.
Great play.
Leapfrogging. Crime actually drops here. They're going to leave him.
Gotta cut your losses, right? The RGS 50 splash damage is not easy to do with, even with multiple blue
back.
walls. Cobra is going back for him. Exo covering the flank. This is actually not such bad play. In fact, Expand might just rush for the high ground and try to contest Poco's instead. EXPS on the low ground, not having a good time, as Dew will wipe out the remnants of AGG. Expand, though, they are still hanging around and seeing that they really want to contest Poco Star. This might not be a bad decision after all. Raz is going to start blocking them off with the glue wall. Don't let Expand take control. Crime MKS ends up dropping back down. They had lost their window to go up to the high ground. And the blue zone is starting to tick away at their health.
Time to move.
Will run straight into Expand. This is going to be a bloody fight in the building.
Axel, beautiful stuff. EXPS did not anticipate that backstab coming through from Expand, but Crime still gets taken out as he was already low on that HP, teasing the blue a little bit too much. EXPS all taken out of the equation. Axel's going to bleed out as well. Cobra has got nobody to shoot at this point of time. Get high with the sniper will be the threat for him.
Yeah, Cobra against the world. You have BRU on top of the roof. They've been able to get rid of PocoStar, evicted them in fact from that area. This could be a BRU round as Expand gets eliminated, but PocoStar, they have one extra guy. Get high with the Charge Buster at that range. Not the easiest to get a one pump. They're going to go down to the low ground. Wasana joining Jonah as he's under pressure. Finds the reset on the Sonya as Jonah still stands. And PocoStar now will have to fight the full ramp of BRU. Raz will be able to get high, but Lee instantly gets traded back. Wasana in the corner finds Raz. And Wasana might just save his entire team in this final circle. Can Fires keep it alive for PocoStars? And it seems like there is still a possibility. It's Fires and Raz, and they do it just in time. Just enough for PocoStars to claim the booyah.
PocoStars, Indonesia, they finally get the job done. The first booyah of the Free Fire World Series for the squad, and no better time to get it done than now. Earlier we saw them holding on to that 7th spot, and this should be quite a good jump over Loud.
Oh, definitely. It's going to push them right up there with the number of eliminations they picked up as well. That was such a chaotic late game as well. We had everybody bar Buriram actually occupying more or less the same compound. Yeah. We had some players on the top level, some players on the bottom level, and it looked like Buriram was in a good position to take that game because they were under no pressure at all. EXPS, I kind of felt like they made an interesting decision to be the aggressors, especially when it came to that multi-team battle. I want to hear your thoughts actually about this, AJ and Husky. Like, do you feel like EXPS made the right call there?
They didn't have a choice because of how the circle was moving in. If they don't get out of that compound, they will get stuck in a place where the circle just chokes them. It's pretty similar to what we saw happening to Buriram in those final moments, right? So they had to take a better position outside of the defensive compound, but the move was just a tad bit too slow. But, you know, it's not really their fault because there was just too much of chaos.
Yeah.
The best ones with the position, though, big brain plays, it was Poco. They knew that they needed to take that high ground advantage, and it was pretty much towards the center of that circle. And even at this point where Expand was trying to take that high ground away from them, instead of opening fire, they just blocked out all of that alleyway, forcing Crime to go back out the circle, and this was the death of Crime.
Yeah, this was
already
huge.
low on that HP. And yes, the final bullet was dealt by EXPS, I believe, but the ones that actually forced Crime to get taken down was that smart play out of Poco.
Yeah. If Expand managed to break on top of the roof, EXPS would have had a clean getaway to get into the center of the circle. So that one decision from Poco, from Raps to actually block off the stairs, like AJ mentioned, really not only forced Expand to walk that lower path, but forced them straight into EXPS so that Poco can focus on BRU. And at one point, they even had to abandon that roof compound, but they had enough numbers to overrun BRU.
Yep. Whoa, congratulations to our team for getting the booyah for the day, because that's going to be, again, a nice chunk of points for PocoStar, push them further up the ladder. I think this is going to be very, very motivational, like a very good feeling for the Indonesian fans as well, because I think Poco, they were there, but they're not really a team where you say, like, you look at Poco, this is a team you watch out for. There are currently other teams that have targets on their foreheads, but I think Poco is starting to show that, okay, we've got some promise as well. You might have to look at us, but don't always look at us, okay? We don't want to be the target.
FFSI, right?
Yeah.
When they were still GRC Aphrodite, no one really looked at them, and they were still putting out some pretty good performances.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, they were the underdogs because everybody expected them to fail in the biggest way whatsoever. And I believe they got the 4th place at the end of the day. But of course, let's hear from On and what she gets out of the winners.
Who said the stars are only up among the sky? Well, I got one of the stars right here. PocoStar, congratulations! How do you feel from the first win, first booyah of the day?
Gimana perasaan lu ini pertama kali lu dapetin booyah?
Udah pasti senang banget, dan apalagi ini FFWS kan.
Of course, we happy in the FFWS this.
Yeah, in the last combat of Game 5, your team had to fight back with a lot of teams. How did you win? And you actually won the former championship Buriram United Esports as well. How did that make you feel?
Oke, di game kelima ini lu bisa balikin keadaan. Terus banyak tim juga. Nah, ini termasuk salah satunya adalah Buriram. Ini coba lu jelasin. Ya, lu bisa jelasin, bantu jelasin ke teman-teman, lu bisa fight back buat bisa dapetin Buya.
Ya kalau dari kita sih nggak ada ya, ya main aja gitu.
Ya, we keep focus, we keep playing, ya.
How do you plan to carry the momentum from this win to the next round?
Gimana strategi lu buat ya next roundnya?
Gak ada strategi, udah boya aja.
Ya, he said keep playing and we will get the Buya.
You will get the booyah in the final one, right?
Yeah.
Which is your favorite map in Free Fire World Series 2023 and why?
Favorit lu di FFWS ini apa? Favorite map?
Purgatory karena di Purgatory kita sering boya.
Map Purgatory because the big chance we have to get the Buya.
Right. And you've been in Thailand for a while now. Which menu is your favorite yet?
Lu sekarang di Thailand, apa yang lu favoritin? Hal apa? Thailand.
Makanannya.
Ya, food, this delicious food.
Oh, you love all the Thai food.
Yeah.
Delicious, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much and hope you get the first and the final booyah of the day. Congratulations to Poco Star. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
Honestly, I don't think you can complain if someone says they like everything.
He got the right answer.
You got the right answer.
Like, what's the best dish? All of them. All Thai food is good food.
Which
All
menu
Thai
is the
food
best?
good food.
Food. Food is food. Food is good.
But not food. Not all food is
Thai
equal.
Thai
Not food is equal.
Yellow
Like-
curry is superior
Yes.
than red curry. I
We're
don't
not
like
going to
the
have
spice.
this argument on the desk. But we should have a discussion on what could possibly be coming up next. Now, what is going to come up next is that we are going to have our random map popping up. And I think some teams, they're going to be feeling a little bit of pressure because certain teams don't perform on certain maps. And other teams, they kind of want certain maps to pop up for them. Before that, though, let's take a look at our elimination leaders very quickly as we see two of PokerStars players on the leaderboard. First, we have Fives MK, and in third, we have Raz.
I believe this is like just
Okay, here's where my blood pressure either goes up
Or down. Or up again.
Yeah, or even higher.
Oh,
It's
God.
either Fires or Raz. I think I can live with these two.
It is
Ah,
fire. Okay, Fives.
More acceptable.
This is their second booyah for the day.
Yeah.
And of course, right, the first booyah was on Purgatory. They got like what? They got the booyah, but only 2 eliminations. I think that was the downside when they got the booyah on Purgatory.
What they got the booyahs. That's the only thing that really matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure, but
Yeah, never mind.
okay.
AJ,
Yeah, I
you're
look at
confused.
Yes, never mind, never
because I
mind.
look at the second place team and they got 0 eliminations. So there goes my argument. Thank you, MIBR.
No, I was about to say Buriram did it on Purgatory, but we are gonna glance over that because Fives MKS was having a fantastic time out there. I mean, 8 eliminations is one thing, right? But an average of 3,842 damage is just pretty insane for the guy. PokerStar walks away with 28 points. But the highlight here, I'm sorry,
Hot
sit down,
shots.
Poco. It's Hotshot Esports finally waking up.
Teams coming.
16 eliminations.
I mean, the team's out to play. You know.
And if it wasn't for Poco, Hotshot would have continued that run.
100%.
Actually, yeah, very likely.
Yeah.
Now, I just found out where my info went wrong. I was looking at the wrong numbers, the wrong stats. I was looking at placement and eliminations.
You
instead of-
almost made.
You
almost made Poco a little bit too excited there. Like,
'Cause
wait, nobody told us.
because I was a bit confused when they say that they are looking at Purgatory to get the booyah, because their Purgatory they actually finished 10th on that map.
And check this out, guys. EXPS on that #1 spot, and they didn't even show up strongly as aggressively as they should have.
They only needed 6 points, 7
Yeah,
points.
they were just staying
to
hidden.
overtake.
They're like, oh, we got this.
Cruise control. That's what's happened. Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, if you don't have to overextend, don't. You
I
chill.
absolutely agree with that. I mean, I just wish more teams would actually follow that.
If only.
If only.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't get to speak to the players.
Ah.
But we can speak amongst
But I
ourselves.
think On's doing a fantastic job, though.
Though I would say that for BRU, the
Gentlemen, I will have to stop you there because we have the map selection. We're going to find out what our last map is going to be, and it looks like we are heading
Aw,
back to
come on.
Bermuda. So this is our second random map selector, ending up as Bermuda. Now, there is
God of
one.
Wolf is crying.
They're crying.
God of Wolf is like, why couldn't this be
They
us?
were in the wrong group. All right, so now that we know Bermuda is going to be the final map of the day, we're going to take a look at a certain team that kind of wanted it to be Bermuda, and they're kind of on the screen right now. The team that got the booyah on Bermuda earlier today. And this is Loud.
I'm just happy that all teams, all the booyahs went to different teams.
Yeah.
Unlike the first 2 days.
I think the most excited one is going to be EXPS because they are your top performers on Bermuda, and this is not just with the total number of points picked up on this map thus far. Even if you average out with all of the points that they've done, EXPS is still the best team, and they are number 1 right now. So that's like adrenaline pumping stats right there. If they don't get into the final circle, I'm going to have questions for the team.
What do you think, Husky? Are you...
I'm looking at the top 3 finish for EXPS, but in this case, I'm going to look away from the Brazilian teams for this final round because the last, round 4, round 5 have been a bit quiet for them, right? MIBR is having an absolutely horrible day.
I said MIBR was going to do good today.
After watching the previous 5 rounds, I have my doubts.
You could say the same about Hotshot.
I could.
And then they got 21.
Yeah, but I never voted for them, so there's no stakes for me, okay?
There's no stakes.
There's no winning for Hotshot with you, Husky.
Oh my gosh, this man is going to jump onto the bandwagon when it's a bit too late. But the players, they are getting ready to jump into the lobby for our final game of the night, which is going to be on Bermuda. This is the last hurrah for everyone as well to lock in their points for the week. Honestly, if you are not top 12 now, this is your last chance to at least sit in top 12 because you want to at least be guaranteed or at least given that safety net like, okay, I can make it to top 12.
I think the bottom
Next
line
week is going to be to save it.
I think the bottom line is you need 100 points by the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you can get 100 points in 12 rounds, I think that is going to be a bit of an issue.
Yes.
For a lot of these teams, especially when you're in the bottom 6, right? That's where it gets very, very dicey. Obviously, for Group B, you have, I think WASK comes to mind. They are having a rough time. But for the rest of the squads, at least there were some improvements. Even Hotshot got a big round like what we saw just now.
Yeah. I mean, fingers crossed, of course, Hotshot continues to be on the upward trajectory because they have finally moved on into their winning style, and most of the points are coming from placements. So I think they have got the equation right here. Instead of getting aggressive, just go for those circles, and it's going to be a safe play into the finals.
It could be a case of the team just really starting to adapt to how their competitors are currently playing, right? Like, it's only week 1. We've still got another week of knockouts for teams to learn, to practice, to adapt. But are there any teams that we think are currently rising that are going to be major players next week? Just going off the stats, they started off weak, they're slowly getting better, they're showing a glimmer, a spark, a flame of power.
I would say Thorad. I think Thorad is the first team that comes to mind. A Poco Star as well. I think they had a very decent day 2, and right now they have 76 points as compared to day 2 where they finished with 64. So I think Pogo Star are also the up and coming. Them and Thorad.
So the Indonesian team, okay, interesting. So the Indonesian team is playing a bit more of a conservative game, being more adaptive to the meta. All right, so the players, they're loaded in, their pods are in the plane. We are ready to drop into Bermuda. This is our 6th and final game for the week for teams in Groups A versus C. This is their last hurrah to lock in their points. Good luck, have fun to everybody competing. I hope you get the score that you're looking for. Unfortunately, only a few of them are going to win in that regard. Others will have to spend the rest of the week figuring out what the issues are. And look at this flight path, dead center. So these teams are going to have a lot of opportunities to go for wherever they want to fly.
I mean, look at that. Look at the high tier loot zones. Right there at Factory. This could be a very highly contested area, depending on which team wants to go there.
Any hot drops? We're seeing 2 teams fly together right now.
Magic usually takes Factory, so if someone goes for the blue circle, they're gonna
have a look at Mill.
They're gonna hot drop Magic, but nobody else wants to go
Expand,
for...
don't do it.
PE Sports and AGG, gentlemen.
Again.
Yeah, again. I mean, I think these two are just in love with each other. They clearly don't want to let go of this compound.
At this rate, they're just asking for it, right?
Leave! Don't come here again.
Well, PE Sports, they still. Well, never mind. They're gonna just wipe everyone out.
If you get the Mac 10 when you hot drop someone, you're going to walk away with all of the eliminations. But look at Hot Shot.
Okay, Hotshot can. Wasana, why? I believe he took out. I believe he took out the scout of Hotshot, so it's not all too bad. But
ooh, long shots with the Mac 10. Come on, you don't see that all the time.
Man,
what was that?
AGG, rough day for them. How many points did AGG get on day one? Let me check. So day one they got 44 points. Right now they have like what? 27, barely half of what they got on day one.
Don't really want to be going down in points throughout the week. You want to be going up if possible.
And for the last round of the first week, they actually bring in Drax for Loud. So no doubt would take a back seat.
Just going to have Loud to pull off their standard procedure here, split their team up, scout things out. BRU, oh my gosh. Beautiful drop.
That is just straight up hacks.
I mean, the guy literally Tatsuya bursts away from a grenade and then just flicks to his left, gets a knock. Wasana's insane.
That snap. They might be contesting PE though, so the binoculars from DNPs will spot out 2 members of BRU. What's the reaction from PE?
Oh my. And Buriram's not waiting on ceremony. They want to take this approach narrow out in the open. In the meantime, Sajid brings his team members right back into the equation. Buriram already asking big questions. Narrow with the Mac 10. Can he save the day again as Jonah finds Don't Cry? Hao Ang out in the open. Tags back Wasana with 15 HP left. And Hao Ang just doesn't have a grenade to work around with. Jonah moves in for the finisher. MP40 flick around the 180. Doesn't find the connection. But Moshi's there to save him.
Jonah just mowing through PE. That's a triple kill for the captain of BRU. There's 5 eliminations already.
Unfortunate for PE, right? They had a great start and then they just get shut down by Buriram of all teams. Going to be crippled and have to restart.
Yeah, they barely had the loot there. Yeah, they did take down a couple of players, but they couldn't loot much from them either.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they still have 1 more guy left, so PE is still in the game.
Yeah.
Loud, on the other hand, will face off against
Hotshots are so spread. They are so spread apart. I'm not a fan of this.
Mexico's been tagged. No elimination. Drax.
It's gonna see Sajid on the stairs.
I mean, Hotshot just came back, so this is a very slim chance they walk away from Loud of all people.
Yeah, all these glue walls are even more valuable when when the resources are very scarce. So in this case, Sajid, I think he just ran out of glue wall. Now he just have to run for the hills, try to wait it out as long as he can and have the rest of his teammates get to a safer spot. Anas certainly can't do that. And he can also, not on Sajid, so 2 free points on the side of Loud.
Kawan doing 2 people's jobs all on his own. AUG, fantastic weapon for the mid to long range engagement. And he gets the scope in. But there was 1 player from the side of Hotshot that got away. And it looks like it's 2, in fact. Hasu with the vehicle. Action. Looking for a vending machine to buy his friends right back.
In the meantime, Expand actually found North Cobra getting the first elim for his team. So it's not too bad. I mean, for Hotshot even, Hasu brought back Anas. So Hotshot gets to continue playing, but it will definitely be a slower game for them.
Yeah, slow game. I think at this point, just recover as much as you can. Get ready to move over to your next main objective. Get your loot up, and at this point, kind of hope that you don't run into a fully equipped team, because there are a number of teams where if they see movement, they just go.
Yeah. It just depends on the utilities that they have. Like the binoculars is very, very crucial. The UAVs, MIBI showing up at to Clock Tower. This is a very crucial round for them. Get as much points as they can. They will try to scout out the area near them. I think east of Clock Tower, but find no one there.
Yeah, just play it nice and safe here. Husky, what's the status for MIBR? Are they? Would you say they're in like a safe spot for this week, or? Okay, you'll hang on there, AJ. So how many points are they sitting on for this week?
Define safe.
All right, so by the end of day 2, they have 59. Well, they only play 1 game actually, right? So they have 59 points at the start of the day, and right up to this round, they only have 9. So they have 68 points effectively.
Yeah, so
Not very safe.
yeah, safe from
Bottom
what
6
aspect?
probably.
They're in the blue zone.
Definitely the bottom.
There we
6.
go. They're in the blue zone.
Unless they wake up in this match, they can save themselves.
Yeah. This round has to be their round.
Yeah.
And maybe not a booyah, but ideally one.
Like 15-ish points. Would that suffice, I suppose, for the round?
That's bare minimum, I'd say.
Yeah, that's bare minimum. They gotta go on an explosive round. They gotta get into the final circle. They gotta farm a minimum of 15 eliminations.
Like
15 eliminations? I thought 15 points.
Well, 15 points in total is like the bare minimum, but it will
Yeah.
just barely keep you afloat. Like you're still at risk of drowning. But if you get 15 eliminations and a booyah, then sure.
Sure. I think that would
Then
lift
sure.
every team up.
Man, look at this circle though.
Ooh, very southern circle. All right.
Magic with a marker onto Expand, and there's just no engagement between them just yet. Expand in a fantastic spot. Head on in towards Factory and make good use of that vending machine, and it's going to be a fantastic defensive spot for them, at least until the next circle subsides.
We'll wait this out though. I mean, it's gonna time out in 15 seconds. So Magic Squad, they will not get anything done. They might know that Expand is driving in their direction. The first team that they will run into is actually MIBR.
If MIBR spot this, they either need to make a decision, stay hidden or engage. And it looks like engaging is going to be the play.
Try.
They shoot the vehicle down first, so that's smart from MIBR, but would have been a little bit smarter to wait for the vehicle to just come in a little bit closer, since Expand was already heading their way.
It's not exactly the worst choice also, because Expand now finds themselves, they're straight up stranded. They have to make this big, long wraparound. And if you look at the point of view of MIBR's members, no matter where Expand comes up from, they are going to be exposed to MIBR. The question is, what is the decision for MIBR? If they rotate away right now, then sure, Expand gets some sort of a breathing.
All right, we've got Loud on the screen here, and they've actually just ejected one of their players. They're all moving together, but they are running into Thorad. And they're going to shoot Thorad as well.
Just being very aggressive. They need to take as much space as they can.
I mean, this is classic Loud, though, isn't it? Like, we saw this happen in the exact same thing happen for game number 1. Extremely quiet up until that 3rd, 4th circle, and after that, the team just goes completely off the rails.
Use the binoculars, so with decent info to work with, this can influence their rotation, and you can see that they are going to go the opposite direction, right? Also expecting TR to do the same. We'll meet at the factory. This could be a big fight, and it also comes down to where if Lau gets into the factory first, and they will because they do have the vehicle. So they get to set up, and they might even find this lone member from Hotshot. Actually, no, he just cut through factory. Oh, there it is.
And I don't think that player is going to be able to walk away with much. Hotshot hanging on for the dear lives here. Poco, on the other hand, a smooth journey towards Osaka or MIBR could just turn out wonderful for the squad. But it seems like they're just going to hunker in for
PE is going to run right into Osaka here. It's Don't Cry. He's all on his own. This might not end up being a very good ending for this man.
No, we still have 11 teams. The only team that got knocked out was AGG.
Did they see him? Oh, he sees Osaka. He sees Esteban.
This could just be the survival game, honestly, for PE, because there's not much left for them.
He has to pray that Osaka doesn't run into them. That's the first thing he has to wish. He's got 3 wishes. One of them's already reserved.
We're going to get the 3rd circle soon as well. 10 minutes in. Still 44 players left in this lobby.
Yeah, this is a really full lobby.
AGG wish they are a part of this right now. Depends on where this next circle goes. If it goes down to where Magic Squad is, oh boy, we're gonna have a heck of a round.
There are a number of teams. Oh my gosh, this man's predicted it as well. Oh, very scary.
Expand lucks out. So they're just on the edge of the circle here, but this is going to be a problem because not a huge defensive position to hold on to for Expand.
Definitely not. Don't Cry finding Esteban first. She should be cleaned up pretty soon by Osaka. Since the whole, yeah, there it is. The whole squad is there. Justin will find him. Hotshot holding this factory area. They're gonna share the same compound as Loud, but they both have to start moving south, and I think Hotshot gets to call first dibs if they move now.
Osaka's moving, but they're going to run into Buriram. And the question is, who's going to shoot first? Who sees the other first? And I think Buriram, they've actually caught wind of this. Osaka could be in trouble.
Blue wall melters, courtesy of Buriram first, just to melt down the defense. Let's go! Makes one mistake. Wasana straight up burst on the left-hand side flank. Jonah meets goes first. Esteban trying to save the day. Get high, get sprayed down. Fantastic stuff as Wasana now tries to circle around to the glue walls. Barricade in Esteban as well as Justin. It is going to be a fantastic defensive maneuver coming through from Esteban, but Chris is not going to get picked up. Moshi guards him, and Esteban just has to play for his own life.
Man, Esteban tries to save Chris, but he didn't. He not just have to deal with Moshi, he got to deal with Pogo Stars, who were just vouchering from afar. So this ended up being a three-way fight with Pogo Stars sticking the hand into the cookie jar. On the other end, you have Thorat up against MIBR at Mars Electric. Loud is about to chip in as well. On the southern side, seems like Expand, they're also going to be in a clash. Osaka brings the rest of the team back before Esteban goes down, so he keeps his team alive for a little bit. There's not much pace for them to land.
Oh, look at that, man. They take the top of the silos, so they're going to be undetected for a little bit, but not for long, I'm pretty sure. Thorat needs to deal with the circle. MIBR just waiting for an opportunity to shut them down. Circle's going to chip away at the players of Thorat first, and this gives a big opportunity for MIBR to find the finisher.
Brazilians get the knock also. Qfy starting to light out with multiple eliminations across the map. Thorat on the high ground, Ekao playing in the factory all by himself, able to get 2 knocks, but actually Trace out, runs back into the blue, so the extra damage is going to start to hurt Thorat. Zetsu, Eliminator, Stark 10 needs assistance right now, but Rigby is going to pick out some extra points. Thorat ends up surrendering themselves to MIBR.
Good play by MIBR. We wanted them to get into the final circle, and they do exactly that. Magic Squad versus EXPS though. This is going to be a hot fight, and Hotshot can vulture.
And Loud also just got rid of Poco Stars. EXPS, Magic, and Hotshot. And Hotshot is in a very, very
advantageous position because I don't think EXPS is looking at Hotshot much.
I think they see him now.
Yep. They just saw action.
Come on, action.
This could be the end for Hotshot because there is no way you are going up the high ground without taking fire.
Nah, I think EXPS is going to reposition first. Circle's moving in already. They can't afford a fight against Hotshot and then deal with Magic later. Expand approaching from the back. Bye-bye, I guess.
I got that. That's it, right?
Stop finds Hasu. No elimination yet. And Stop claims it for himself as GU drops Chris. MIBR in an engagement against Loud. Double shots on the grenade launcher. Doesn't find the shutdown just yet, but lost 21 with the Drogon. Gets the job done for the squad. MIBR, final standing survivor. Drag circles around. Stark 10 goes down. And that's about it for the final circle play out of MIBR.
Orion just to keep himself alive a bit longer, but not long enough.
Loud is waking up, gentlemen. We're getting into that late game, and they are sitting on 10 eliminations, I believe. So this is the team to watch out for. We've seen them take a Bermuda earlier today, but if you don't eliminate them now, they might just continue with this momentum and take this game.
Yeah, Expand's going to be right behind Loud. How can they get this done? Because BRU, look at that. Big cluster from Expand. Great stuff to keep Loud at bay, and now Loud is in a world of hurt. Every single thing thrown at them Expand. They're just going to make sure that Loud does not get to proceed any further.
Too fast though with the power foul. Should be able to get the job done. Those blue wall melters barely tickle the players of Loud. But the high ground advantage in the hands of Expand, not really used to its best advantage thus far.
Two-pronged attack as well. Buriram is actually attacking Loud as well. So Expand and Buriram assisting in eliminating a potential Puya for this team.
Expand might just backstab EXPS right now because they're preoccupied by BRU. Oh, this could be a big opportunity from Expand if they can find it. Moshi, he's going to get dropped. Caramel moving forward, giving up a bit of that position on that high ground. And this is an angle that Expand can look for. They are connecting with EXPS right now. Cobra on the rush. They're going to try to break through that glue as fast as possible. EXPS turning their attention back towards Expand. Loud still alive, but Jonah will take advantage of that opportunity to wipe out Loud on the side. BRU repositioning, and EXPS keeping Expand away. EXO ends up getting eliminated.
Jonah, beautiful stuff as he takes out the final player from the side of Loud. And now the backstab from Expand just absolutely faltering. As EXPS just turns that 180 and keeps Expand at bay. Down on the ground. Crime MKS as well. And that's all the over for the side of Expand. Buriram versus EXPS for the Booyah now.
Yeah, they have a window, but the window closed very quickly. EXPS, they just have the numbers to do with Buriram. Gonna start with Expand first, wiping out Cobra. That's it for Expand. Wasana and Jonah. Can the captain lead Wasana alongside himself to victory? Seems like that would not be possible. Stop. We'll get rid of both of them. EXPS in the final round of the first week of knockouts will find their booyah.
What a play from EXPS, picking up their 4th booyah of the Free Fire World Series. And this is no better way to get it done, especially on the final map of the day. They already had that #1 spot, and now they just extend a monstrous lead over teams like CGGG, RRQ Kazu, as well as Buriram.
Could be a redemption arc for ESPS. Third place last year, first place seems to not be a far-fetched dream this year, right? We are all we're expecting BRU to be first by the end of today, but EXPS, they have definitely outshined everyone.
They outshined everyone for the last game for this week as well. So they're going to be feeling pretty good for the rest of the week up until games kick off again next week. Let's, I suppose, recap the games that have concluded today. We've had a couple ups, we had a couple downs. EXPS finally showing that they are here to play. They had a bit of a downer moment, I suppose, during today, but they definitely picked up. They ended the week on a high. Poco Stars also showing that they are a team to be worried about. Buriram, I mean, they're fine, right? I think a lot of people were thinking that Buriram was going to dominate the competition. That hasn't been the case, but at the same time, there were arguments on our side that they kind of don't need to stay on top.
I mean, EXPS is just monstrous at this point of time. They've got the most number of eliminations. That's the record thus far for week 1. They've got the most number of placement points. They've got the most number of MVPs. They've got the most number of points. They've got the most number of booyahs. It's great to be EXPS right now.
It's great to be a Thai fan overall, right? Like,
Always.
your region
Always.
is just killing it on the world stage.
Literally, man.
But the XPS, I mean, the fact that they were able to defend this spot in the final circle against Expand and BRU and Loud.
Another level. I mean, they just took on not a small fry squad. They took on Buriram. They were so engaged in that fight. And Expand had that window, and like you said so perfectly earlier, Husky, that window didn't stay open for long.
Something had to happen instantly, right?
Yeah.
If you can't do it in that moment, I think it just closes. And I don't think it's Expand's fault. It's just that these high stakes moments, they don't last for long.
I mean, EXPS is just good.
Yeah, they're just better.
Yeah, Expand had a great run towards that final circle. Apart from that final engagement, everything else was done right. They engaged with Loud. They could have gotten wiped out if they made that one wrong move. They said, no, not now. I want to focus on that reposition. I want to focus on the circle. And this is the kind of decision-making we have not seen from the old Expand that has just changed and has transformed, but they're just not there yet when it comes to the mechanical skills.
They did get lost.
Yes, mechanical skills definitely, it takes time and a lot of practice, right?
Yes.
But the shot call from Expand definitely was a lot more cleaner compared to yesterday, for sure.
And hopefully we get even better shot calls next week, right? Like that's the thing.
I don't think you can outdo whatever that has been done thus far by Too Fast in terms of shot calling, because it's a world of difference in comparison to FFSI. But yeah, they need to train more. Let's check out exactly what Orn can pull out of EXPS, yet another champion from Thailand.
Woohoo! That was intense indeed. There were like 2 teams, and it was Thailand that will battle it out. And only one winner. He's right here with me. EXP Deal, welcome back. Congratulations once again. 2 booyahs of the day. Do you satisfied with your team performance?
รู้สึกพอใจกับผลการเล่นของทีมในวันนี้ไหมคะ
รู้สึกพอใจครับเล่นตามที่ซ้อมครับ
I'm very satisfied because we play as what we practice to be.
You beat another Thailand team, which they were an former championship of Free Fire World Series, right? Do you think that your team is the strongest Thailand team in this Free Fire World Series 2023?
ในวงสุดท้ายเราเอาชนะบุรีรัมย์ซึ่งเป็นแชมป์ของรอบที่แล้วได้ถามว่าตอนนี้เราคิดว่าทีมของเราเป็นทีมที่โหดที่สุดในไทยแล้วหรือยังคะ
ยังครับเพราะว่าเขาโดนเราตัดครับแต่ถ้าเขาครบตี้เราก็น่าจะแพ้ครับถ้าเขาครบตี้เราก็น่าจะแพ้ครับ
Not yet the strongest team because they didn't have the full team in the last circle. So if we have full team, yeah, maybe we might lose.
Any adjustment you think you need to do and as your team for the next week?
คิดว่าจะเปลี่ยนแผนการเล่นในอาทิตย์หน้าไหมคะ
เล่นตามที่โค้ชบีฟไว้ครับตามที่โค้ชแบบว่าโค้ชผมแบบเก็บแผนอะไรเงี้ยแบบดูว่าแบบแต่ละวันเล่นยังไงครับ
Depend on our coach plan. We play just what he told us to play.
And who is the key player of your team in week 1 and why
ใครเป็น key player ของทีมเราคะเพราะอะไรของอาทิตย์นี้
โค้ดไม่ใช่คาราเมลครับกับตันทีมผมเอง เพราะว่าแบบสั่งการเล่นแล้วก็ฝีมือในการอ่านเกมด้วยครับ ตึงมาก
Our team กัปตัน EXP Caramel because เมื่อกี้บอกว่า Caramel อะไร
Caramel ตึงอ่านเกมขาด
because he lead us and he command us to play the best as we can
Thai fans are very exciting right now anything you like to thanks or you like to say to our Thai fans
ฝากข้อความถึงแฟนๆหน่อยค่ะ
ขอบคุณที่เชียร์ EP ครับเดี๋ยวสัปดาห์หน้าเราจะทำให้ดีกว่าเดิมครับ
Thank you to support our team we will try again we will play better next week
Keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on EXP, and it's been an incredible journey so far. We witnessed some skill, strategy, and whole lot of fun. The best is yet to come. See you right up next weekend with me, signing out from Free Fire World Series 2023 Battleground. Your host on Patira. Bye bye.
Well, there we go. EXPS wrapping up the week with the last booyah for week 1 of knockouts. And I have to say, I was kind of hoping Du would be like, I'm the MVP because I've been getting all the MVPs.
4 booyahs out of 12 rounds. That's a third of, in terms of ratio, that's a third of booyahs in total, right? This team, they play like soldiers.
They
absolute battalion.
I think, if their performance on their first day of play was great, this was just so much more leaps and bounds better, right? I mean, on the scoreline, it's just a little bit better. They scored 101 on the first day.
Yep.
Today, it should be in the vicinity of about 110, 115.
I mean, it's still better.
It's the best team of the day.
If you get into 200 in 12 days, I mean, you can't complain too much, right?
12
no one
days,
can
2
complain.
days, sir.
Sorry?
Get to 200 in 2 days.
Yes.
You said 12 days.
2 days.
Okay.
I thought he said 2 days. I'm not sure. I don't know who's tripping, if it's me or
I
AJ.
started questioning myself.
it might be a year thing. Jonah, 8 eliminations though. He takes the title away from the rest of the EXPS team. But the MVP...
Is it Du? Oh, it's Caramel. Okay, gotta give some props to the captain.
I was like, man, if it's Du again. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but it's good to see the captain being, being spotlighted.
Appreciated. Yeah.
Again, one of the few teams that runs the Steffi, right? And who better to take on that role than Caramel himself? He's the Steffi guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just works out so well for EXPS because they're always grouping together. They know they've got the strength in numbers, especially when you've got someone like Caramel to kind of block off all of the damage and Stop goes out on that annihilating spree. Although, I did like Stop's plays much, much better.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so what was it about Stop that made him so eye-catching to you?
I mean, it's not really, very clear from the number of damage that he got. But look at the accuracy with those headshots. He's the one finding those clips so that the rest of his team members can get
he's
those
finishing the
eliminations.
job.
But he's also finishing the job.
Yeah.
He's also getting those elimination numbers for the squad.
Yeah, I think I definitely can agree with that, right? I think sometimes everyone just does so well. It's hard to point out who's the best. I think Stop in this case have been finding a lot of initial tags, and that actually led to very effective conversion for EXPS. 28 points off of this one round. I think when we look at the overall standings, EXPS would tell us a very compelling story of where they stand right now. Aside from being in first place, 213 points.
Oh yeah. So that's 112 points versus 101 on day 1 of play. So EXP, I mean, they stepped it up. And once again, this is the kind of team, the silent assassins. You don't really see them making a lot of noise out there. You don't see explosive rounds. But when they get the job done, they get it done clean.
Yep. Now, I think a team that we were sort of talking about at the beginning of the day and we sort of forgotten about is Magic Squad. Magic Squad did a fantastic job during their first day of play day.
Yes.
The team has sort of fallen off in terms of performance today. What kind of happened with the Brazilian squad? Was it just a case of they got overwhelmed by a lot of the Thai teams that dominated the matches today?
It feels a bit of both, right? Overwhelmed, they were not able to adjust fast enough.
Do you think maybe even Loud was a contributing factor because you're playing against your countrymen, they're going to know your play style as well?
It could be, right? I think even Loud in the final round had a good chance, if not for Expand catching them, in the final circle. Remember by the end of day 1, I said something about GOW. If they don't get like around 50 points by the end of day one. There's a good chance they are in the bottom 6. Look at that. They just barely squeezed in top 12, 16 points ahead of Osaka. And if you're GOW, you are saying a prayer that thank goodness that day one went well.
Absolutely. I mean, those two Bermuda maps definitely did them well. But the MVP leader still stays in the hands of EXPS Dew with 3. But look at who's quickly catching up. Caramel, his captain and team member.
And the captain having the most eliminations. 38 under his belt.
Well, I mean, Dew did say that he respected Caramel the most, right? And just having stats like this, it just goes to show that how pivotal and how important Caramel is to the overall roster. But yeah, it seems like that's going to be it for week 1 of knockouts for the Free Fire World Series 2023. I think we've had a lot of moments, a lot of memorable moments over the weekend. I want to ask you two, what was your favorite moment over the weekend? Like, what, just that one fight that you thought,
Moshi.
I'm never going to forget about it?
The Moshi won me too. Just individual mechanics. Okay, I think.
Do you remember?
I think I took the words out of his mouth. I'll find another play.
No, it's okay. I'll find another one. Best play, I think he took it, but best moment is Hotshot waking up.
Oh, hot shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've been waiting for the Pakistanis to do something massive like that on the battlefield all this week. I mean, of course, it's just been 3 days, but at least they got it done today.
I think special mention for Osaka as well, right? They were able to close out yesterday with a booyah of their own. I think that was also a great moment for the Latam team.
Well, we've got one more week to go when it comes to these knockout matches, but unfortunately we are done for this week. But don't fret, next week we are going to continue with our knockouts and also find out who our top 12 teams are going to be, and at the same time find out who our 6 teams will be that'll be removed from the competition. Unfortunately, we can only have one winner, and we are going to slowly figure out who that is going to be. But my name is Danielle, he is the Mustachio AJ, he is Husky. We have been your commentators for this weekend. We're going to be back next weekend starting on Friday. Don't skip next Friday. I promise you.
I want to skip next Friday. I want to skip next Friday. I want to skip next Saturday. I want to skip next Sunday. I want to get...
You just want to get to the grand final weekend.
Yes, because there's this introduction of something called the point rush. And for the first time in the history of Free Fire, we're just going to have lobbies with the creme de la creme de la creme de la creme of Free Fire teams going out there and not really going for eliminations. In fact, they're only going to go for survival and placements. I'm looking forward to some hilarious moments on the finals.
Well, I think in the meantime, AJ, you can go visit a bakery that can give you all the creme de la creme that you would like.
I'm pretty sure that's called creme brulee.
My wife would disagree. I think I am bursting out. I need to go shopping again.
Well, maybe we'll see you in next week we'll see you in a new fit.
Right now. Yoga pants.
We'll see this man in a new fit next week. But that's going to be it for us. Thank you so much for tuning into the Free Fire World Series 2023.
No, wait.
No? Okay. Well, we're sticking around.
Are you looking forward to Point Rush?
Of course. I mean, Point Rush, the thing that catches me off guard about Point Rush is the fact that we have not seen it before, has not been implemented in Free Fire history. And then they just decided to bring it out at the world stage.
I believe not in the world of Battle Royale competitive ever. Have I ever seen Point Rush?
No. None.
No, I don't think so.
And honestly, I would like to go against your theory. You say that teams would play for positions. I think teams would play as how they did in the knockout stage. Because you need as much points as possible to gain the advantage when you get into the grand finals. And eliminations, they contribute to it.
No. In Point Rush, it doesn't. It's only survival. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it finally brings us to the end of our Sunday.
Yes, the show is finally ended.
End of your tantrum.
End of your tantrum.
Point Rush!
All right, thank you so much, AJ. Thank you, Husky. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning into the broadcast. We'll see you next week. Make sure you're here for Friday's game. But until then, have a wonderful week, survivors. We'll see you next time.